listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, coming at you in the live form here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. And of course, the show is commonly, or the table is the Emerald Table, commonly referred to as Outside the Box as well. Given the fact that there isn't a box, it's a construct that you put around you. Well, you got to be literal about some things in order to get stuff through. Now, one of the things that I come across constantly, and obviously I'm failing miserably at really getting this simplified to a point where it can be accepted very easily. We're not talking about rocket science here. And in that regard, I'm going to talk about the name and the perspectives. And the first thing that always happens with people, as soon as and it happened with me too, so don't think that you're alone in this. This is why I can speak from this, because I'm speaking from my own personal experience and the literal left brain mayhem that ensues once you understand the ramifications of the legal name and what it involves. It's been a very long walk to get to this point, and it has, in spiritual, emotional, physical, material terms, it is a very hefty price. And I just hate to see that go to waste, right? Basically, in an allegorical sense, the truth is paid for. That's why no one can ever sell truth, because it's already paid for. It belongs to everybody. And some of us go through different prices to pay for it, and that's fine. It just depends on the model and make of you and what your role is here to play, and whether you can accept the responsibility of that role. That's not my call. I made my choices. And looking back in the contrast of them now, they were perfect. Because in order to be able to share what I'm able to share, I would have, if I had not experienced any single thing, good or bad, depending on your perspective, I would not be able to sit here and share this on a worldwide scale. Now, would I? So go ahead, tell me that everything that happened to me was bad. And I can tell you in the mirror that everything was good in order to get to this understanding. It only gets better from here. So let me really try to simplify this, and hopefully I don't fail again miserably tonight. I take the responsibility of trying to clarify this. And for those that understand what it is I'm going to be sharing already and have had their click aha moments, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And it's not an easy thing to explain to people. And it's basically because of the programs that we have all been indoctrinated with. And how to get this really through to people. The simple question to ask yourself is this. If you still carry an idea of any kind whatsoever, just grab a handful of these things and throw them on the table in front of you, or desk, or whatever the case may be. And when you throw these things out in front of you, start talking to them and ask them if that's you. If any of these little bits of paper, plastic, whatever answer you, I'm sure there's a 1-800 number somewhere for a psycho ward somewhere. Okay? Separate yourself from the concepts of what's been indoctrinated into you. And while many people get the idea that I'm not the legal name, okay, sit around and pause and think about that for a few minutes. Maybe a few days would be a better idea. Maybe quiet the left brain down enough, instead of, as I posted in the Skype room, instead of building real mountains out of imaginary molehills. And the molehills are the what ifs and what do I do, and stop. When I hear all of these things, and I get it all the time, and I fully understand where it comes from. I get it. As soon as it's like you realize that, well, okay, the legal name is the trap of traps here. And it's a soul trap, and I'll be working on an essay called The Body Snatchers, in terms of how the contract, I'll do my best to explain it as concise yet as widespread as possible to make sure that I get the full picture through. Again, writing essays is something completely contrary to my normal way of being in terms of writing songs, where I write a handful of words to convey huge pictures. It's a lot different here, so it's actually reversed. I'm trying to paint small concepts with very large amounts of words. Simplicity is the most difficult thing to explain. Of course it is. It's a singularity. That which you think is simple is actually very complicated, and why many of us experience the, how the hell do I say this? How the hell do I share this with anybody? But it really is so blindingly simple, and that's not to make less of an intellect. It's actually, that intellect is the problem. Intellect will get in the way of the simplicities of truth. If you want proof of this, simply ask a child. Because they haven't got all the hang-ups and the what-ifs, and they don't worry about the imaginary molehills, the what-ifs that turn into real mountains of panic and stress and, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? That psychobabble that goes on in all of our minds, when we finally get this realization, is the same as, a bunch of kids in the back of the car screaming, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And the car hasn't even left the driveway. It is really that literal. Think of the destination, right? Okay, well, we know the legal name and all of its poison, probably the best word, is pure fraud. Here's a couple of simple questions you might want to ask yourself. Did my mom and dad deliberately, with intent, go out of their way to make sure that my soul and body was enslaved into a slavery matrix called the Crown Corporation, Vatican, whatever, system? I would like to think that the answer was no, unless, of course, you're probably from an Illuminati family or whatever the case may be, at which point it's all about the soul selling to make sure that they have dark entities here to stay here. It's a really simple answer. No, they didn't. They didn't do that deliberately. The mere fact that a registration office exists on this planet is all the prima facie evidence one needs to prove the intent of the system, to aid and abet and deceive moms and dads around the planet into registering their child without telling them that, oh, by the way, when you put your seal on this registration book, the Book of the Dead that's in the registration office that you will never see the original copy of, and you won't see it because wherever mom and dad wrote on that registration book, they left behind forensic evidence of a seal called DNA. And don't get physical and literal on this shit. I'm trying to show you the concepts. It's a real Midas touch seal. It is a physical effect of a spiritual intent. And all they got to do is get you to touch it with intent, either ignorant or otherwise, doesn't matter. Ignorance of the law is not a defense of or from it. And what we're doing at this table every night is removing that ignorance. Give me a minute to start the car, and then I might pull it out of the driveway tonight. No, we're not there yet. Breathe. Sit quietly and breathe. So if that's the case, if mom and dad didn't have the intent to sell you and your soul into slavery, there wasn't, because slavery of soul and body exists here, there was an intent somewhere. And I've already shown you the prima facie evidence of that. So let that sink in for a sec. Excuse me. Mom and dad were deceived out of it. The name, whether mom and dad came up with it or passed down name from another relative, it's irrelevant. The choice and the decision is made, and the contract is signed, sealed, and delivered in the minds and hearts. It's not a piece of paper, so please lose that illusion, lest you stay in the free man on the land psychotic mentality of thinking a piece of paper is going to save you because you send it to this government office or that. It's got nothing to do with that. Oh, by all means, send information out, but understand what it is you're doing and the true spiritual nature behind what you're doing. It's not the piece of paper that's doing anything, it's your intent. That's why people that have tried using my paperwork or documents or whatever, why does it work for most people and not for others? Well, the ones it doesn't work for are the ones too lazy to actually take the time to absorb it. They're waiting for someone else to wipe their bottom for them. Not only are they still sitting in the driveway screaming, "Are we there yet?" They're sitting in shit-filled diapers. They've got food all over their face. And they're waiting for someone to wipe all that off. Change their nappies for them. As far as I'm concerned, that's certainly not the way a God would act. Okay? You are the power, not the words in the documents. It's the concepts contained within these things that I've tried to share with everyone and others at this table that bring their concepts. And, of course, I get to be a co-creator and a co-experience in all of these things where I put things together. I just cherry-pick the things that resonate. So we've made it very clear that the legal name, as far as anything registered or whatever, remember this, the only piece of paper that is sent out, they actually want to ram it down your throats. They insist that you take it. The only one that is ever voluntarily given at gunpoint insistence is the birth certificate and the registration. You call it a record of life, birth, a birth certificate, it doesn't matter. That was a big red flag for me. Because any other form of identification you're going to get in your life if you're playing in this system, you have to be the one to go out and commit the fraud. You have to be the one to go to the bank. Oh, we need to see a birth certificate. Passport? Oh, we need to see a birth certificate. Government ID? Oh, we need to see a birth certificate. Because they want you committing fraud against yourself in ignorance. I had a good chat with Randy earlier today, and I think I'll probably get Randy to share the recording, and he can do the pausing of it for this meeting, and we'll pick it apart just to show you how ignorant or willfully deceiving this lawyer was. And just for the record, Randy owned him at every turn, to the point where this lawyer had a hissy fit. Couldn't handle the truth. You know, you can call it ego, you can call it whatever you want. I just simply call it emotions. And I hate putting labels and tags on things because they're always misinterpreted. It's very simple. If you're emotionally involved in something, you're not seeing it with a clear, pure heart and mind. You've got a reaction going on. So there we have it. We got, the legal name that was and is forcibly rammed down people's throats in order to get them to aid and abet their children into committing fraud. So look at it simply. Mom and Dad have an intellectual property called the name that they create. They agree to it. That's their creation. That's not yours. You didn't create it. You merely accepted it as yours because you were told to. The truth of the matter is you can call yourself anything you want. I don't know why people are so fixated on it. It's all part of the program, I guess. You can write your name out in any shape, symbol, or sigil you want that only you understand. But you can't pronounce it. Go ahead. I'm just trying to give you concepts of getting out of this physical reality and start to see things from a more spiritual perspective, an outside the box look at it. So mom and dad were the ones that created the intellectual property. It's not yours, never was, never will be. The only thing you can do is accept the contract. Or not. That's not to say it's a permanent contract. Nothing ever is. Because anything created in fraud with an intent to deceive is null and void with that intent to deceive. So what happens then? Mom and dad register the child unwittingly, put their seal of approval, their complete seal called DNA. It's a race seal. Seal, if you look up seal is the highest covenant. And it's proven out in the phonics. Say all. Right? Say, himself, herself, itself, all of creation. All. So that's your spiritual contract. Anytime you seal something, that's why they do everything with seals. But the seal that goes on the registration book is not one that you can visibly see. But I assure you, if you touched it, you left something behind. Raised on the paper. It's a raised seal, which stands above the paper, or the page, whatever the case may be. And every piece of ID that was ever created from that birth certificate was actually fraud. And we did it to ourselves. The difference is now we know this. And the only thing you need to do to break that contract is, one, know that it was fraud. As I just explained, it's very clear, it's very simple. Does a registration building exist? Does a legal name make a slave and give up your soul? Yes. Okay, there it is. Very simple. Get the concept and go ask yourself the question, am I a legal name? And the answer is going to be very simply no. Because anyone that is even remotely awake would probably say no to being a slave and having their soul surrendered and drawn upon by lifeless entities that need that to suck the life out of you in order for them to exist. That's why anyone that is supporting the system is supporting their own destruction. Now, I can feel the molehills getting built into mountains here. But, Kate, what do we... Shut up. Just breathe. Get that one first. Know the difference. Is the name yours? Of course it is. The trick here is, can it be assumed and presumed to be a legal name by and of your actions? That's where it gets a bit tricky. Now, to family members and friends and people that you know are not out to cut your throat and steal your stuff, unless, of course, you've got greedy children that are likely to tell bullshit stories to have you put into a mental hospital because of an inheritance. I'll get into that later. Got to do a little shout out for Meg Louise. That's exactly what her children have done. And I'm looking to get a hold of her tomorrow, getting some contact information. You've probably seen Meg on my Facebook page. That's the psychopathy of this place, where the sheer greed and the indoctrination of the program literally has her children harming her to get some bits of money. Like I said, trust no one. Because you don't know who's around you. Dark principality aspect will invade all levels of consciousness. Friends, family, workplace, whatever the case may be. And that's not to make anyone paranoid, that's just to make you aware. And you can feel your way through this. It's very easy. You'll know. No interviews or interrogation required. You just get a feeling and trust it. Go, have a second look at it. But let's get back to the name part. Now, once you realize this, there is no panic, no rush to do things. With me, it was different because I was going through my own personal truth commitment. And that's not to say that yours isn't the same. Let's just take it at baby steps here, because I know me, I know my experience, and I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I'm built to do. And I say this most humbly, there have been very few people that I know that are built to do what I've been able to do. You weren't meant to. That's my role. It's my game. Get original. Play your own. You've got a critical piece to play, just as critical as mine. So what do you do about this and what do you do about that? Well, let's just get the name thing first. If a friend came up to you and said, hey, how's it going, blah, 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 you'll say, hey, pretty good. Now, a cop comes up to you and says, hey, what's your name? Now we're in a different scenario. Because all these guys are looking for is to be able to assume or presume that you're the legal name. See the difference? Of course the name's yours. It always was. It was hijacked, shanghaied. Your ship was salvaged out of your mother's womb through the gift trick. And while they might have owned the body in terms of the given name and all the rest of it while it's in the womb, they don't anyway. But in ignorance, if we go along with it, well, we're in an ignorant contract to say, yeah, it's okay, you can salvage my child's body, and I'll just make damn sure you get the spirit too as soon as it pops out. Here's the bottom line, and I've said this countless times, and I really hope that I can get this to sink in. Baby steps. You've come to realize that you're not the legal name. You've come to realize that any assumption and presumption of that legal name allows the werewolves and vampires to feed on you easily. It's a spiritual contract. But here's where you just need to change your mind. You cannot serve two masters. You have your name, your path, your way that was intended for you to be yours, where the registration into a legal name was pure and utter theft through deception, non-disclosure. That's why the whole system and this whole planet is corrupt. It's all based in fraud and lies. The whole system is based on that. The money is based on these soul contracts called birth certificates. And I don't want to get into it with anyone who wants to talk bonds, this, and the rest of this shit. Get your head out of your proverbial asses here, please. Get out of the literal. You'll never see this until you do. If you think signing a piece of paper is a contract, then you're an idiot. The contract is signed and sealed in your head. So if somebody hands you a piece of paper that says sign here, just because you want to end a cycle or something, and you know that in your own mind and heart that that's not you, and you know the legal name is fraud, and you can decide in your mind that there's no contract and reverse it. I know this thing that they're putting in front of me is pure fraud, and I'm not going to give it any energy with my ignorant intention of just signing it willy-nilly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plant a Trojan horse on this. This little document that is fraud that is being put in front of me, I'm going to sign it as a witness to the spiritual fraud that it is. And they can assume and presume whatever they want in their ignorance, but I'll tell you, I know what it is. It's pure poison to the system. I decide what my signature is, what contract is. Contracts, all of them, are created in the mind and heart. Before you even think of picking up a pen, if you agree to do something, then you agree in contract. If you agree to not do something, then you agree in contract to not do that. While it is blindingly simple, it's very difficult to see the simplicity of this. Because we've been taught for so long to look outside of ourselves for not only permission. How do I put this? I can't even think of the words for this. Intention. This is all about intention. And if you know who you are, if someone throws a piece of paper in front of you that says sign here, well then sign it with the intent of knowing that it's pure fraud. Anything to do with system and paperwork is all pure fraud, and you're just signing it as a witness to that fraud. And leave it at that. I don't give a fuck what's on the piece of paper, hon. I really don't. The only thing that's written with me is in my heart and mind. I write my book of life from within, where I know everything in this physical reality is pure illusion. And I'll sit back and watch everyone spin out in the literals. And then the very few that find the road get it, and they start walking it, and they understand this. So here's a prime example. Let's say someone gets this, and all of a sudden, whoa, what do I do now? Well, first thing you're going to do is breathe. And then if you want to seal this concept within your heart and mind, go find some piece of useless ID that you once used. Maybe it's an expired library card, an old student card, or whatever. It was a contract at the time, and it's still a real contract. Right up to the point. And by the way, when you do this with something that you don't use anymore, you snip every contract in half in that action. Now, this is not a free pass to stay in the system and keep at it and chug away. No. There's a responsibility game here. And it's a baby step one. I didn't take baby steps. That's not to say that you do the same. If you can, great. Just go right out. That's fine. I know quite a few people that have. And I also know others that just aren't quite ready for that, given their situations. And I've heard all of the, quote, excuses, unquote. There's no excuse for fraud. And when you're ready, the answers will appear within you. When you know you can stand completely and shoo away, cops just because you know who you are. That's a different thing. Back to March 14th. I knew they couldn't touch me or anything that was mine until I would be stupid enough to give them an assumption and presumption of a legal name. Until they get that, they've got nothing. They can't even touch, never mind touch you, they can't even touch the car or the house or whatever it is, your child. They can't even get to it. This is how powerful this truth is. When you know who you are, no one gets to any of your stuff, and I'm talking kids and everything. They can't get to it. This is not about the gimme-gimmes. This is about standing your ground and keeping what you've already got. Keep your stable base, keep your family, keep your stable datums that will only empower you and strengthen you. That's going to be the difference between what I and many others have went through in terms of having our lives stripped and ripped away from us. But in that contrast, I can see this. And it is my preference, it is my wish that you keep all of the things that you have, most importantly your children that have been given up to slavery through this deception. And the mere fact that you understand this and you get this, you have broken that contract. The child is yours. It never wasn't. I don't say that in the ownership thing. You can't own children. This is in the same way you can't own anything. With meat sticks, you just use it. For whatever length of time you're going to use it, that's entirely up to you. But the concepts have to be gotten first. Use the example of a friend coming up to you and saying, "Hey, Dave, how's it going?" And Dave says, "Hey, pretty good, how are you?" Cop comes up to Dave, who knows who he is, and goes, "Are you David so-and-so?" "No." "Got some ID?" "No." And the joke is they cannot force you to give them ID. Here's the trick, though. If you're carrying any, that's a contract. And I go back to the recovering alcoholic that needs to carry a 40-pounder in their back pocket just in case they need it. It's the same way I see any identification. I didn't say destroy your ID. I said just don't carry it until you get comfortable with it. You're putting on a brand new truth suit. It needs a little tailoring. It needs a little nip and tuck here and there. So practice a little bit. If you're not ready to cut yourself free and clear, then fine. Cut your library card or whatever. That reinforces the concept within yourself and universe, of course. By your actions, you are known. And leave the other stuff behind. And just put it out of your mind. Stop building the real mountains out of the imaginary molehill what-ifs. Because here, I'll tell you this right now. When you say what if, the F is an S. You're saying what is. And every timeline you could imagine exists right now. So when you say what if, you're saying what is, and guess what timeline you're going to slide your ass into? Not the one you want. And that's how we do it to ourselves all the time. I just don't worry about the what ifs. I don't care. I accept all things. What needs to be done? Universal present. I'm cool with that. I'm good. Regardless of what I think, I know it's a perfect game. I just accept it. And the more and more I've been able to accept it, the more magical it gets. So if you're living somewhere and you got to, pay a death pledge or pay rent or whatever, and you know the legal name thing, stay the course until you can handle it. With me, it was simply this. I made a choice, an absolute choice, that when I found something within the system that was a lie, and I knew the truth of it, I could not, in good conscience, lie anymore. And that's not a guilt trip. Lose the emotional aspect of this, guys. That's just a fact of my reality. When I found out the mortgage was fraud, and of course it is, we've known that for a long time, but to the detail that I went through it for myself, there was no way I could participate in that fraud any longer. There was no way I could participate in passport fraud, and that's why I called the British High Consulate. And they confirmed completely that yes, any use of the Crown copyrighted, which all names are, legal name, you're committing fraud if you do so. And I asked Paige, the guy that was working there, right up until the point I got the passport, and then he moved somewhere. I have no idea where on the planet he is, or if he's still alive. I don't know. The truth of the matter was, I said, it's not my intent to commit fraud, and I know that the copyright name is not mine. It belongs to the Crown, and I understand copyright law, and I will not use somebody else's claimed intellectual property. That's fraud. I commit fraud. Do you want me to commit fraud? He says, well, no, Kate, we don't want you doing that. So you understand what I'm saying? Yes, I do. Any use of the name, the legal name, that does not belong to you, never did, never will, who the fuck wants it? It's pure poison. But again, take your baby steps, guys. This is the constant ego, brain, emotional, whatever you want to call it. I don't really like putting labels on things anyway. Let's just talk about the real things going on here in your head. You're going schizoid. What about this? What about that? What about the other? What about on and on and on and on and on? And I've said long ago, I will not deal with specific problems with people. I can't. The answer is simple. I can give people the answer. It's up to them whether they can accept it or not. And this is why I tell people, don't ask me. I've already written about it. Go to my website and read. And if after reading everything that's on there, you still don't get it, well, I'd be wondering. But anyway, if you still don't get it, like 100% of the people I've talked to after they've read everything get it, you got issues. They're not mine, they're yours. It's a willingness to look at yourself, honestly. It's a willingness to stand for yourself instead of waiting for someone else to come in and wipe your bum and save your sorry ass. That's the savior program that got rammed into all of us as children, all the way up through adults, right? You know? It's like that headmistress at White, I'm just going to call her White Tiger because that's what she is, a White Tiger. At White Tiger School, she was calling, she wanted to call Daddy to protect her. The cops. Come save me, Daddy. Only to find out that Daddy's going to bitch slap you if you don't follow the rules, slave. And that truly is the power you wield. And I don't care how rough and tumble cops want to be. If you know who you are, you're not going to deal with these guys anyway. And woe betide them if they come into your circle with malintent. I've talked with many of these uniformed robots. I've met a few that are really decent human beings. And I've met the others that are just Bioborg, robotic automaton, machete, soulless, that prey on others for their energy. It's just the way it is. But not for long. It's coming down. When you stand in truth, capital T, law of A, the law of truth, you become the life, the X, the IO, creation, with a circle around you. A very, very protective circle. And you stay right inside that. You stay on the center of that truth crosshairs, and nothing can come at you. That's the Phoenician letter for our Western T. It's an X inside a circle. Now, that's the capital T. You don't get crucified on that one because you're standing in the law of truth. The lowercase, lower kase, the lower spirit of creation, instead of the upper spirit of creation, kase, the lowercase is the crucifixion. And it's perfect because it's got a spot for both arms, the head, and the feet. Lowercase t is a box. Fold it up, it creates a cube. Look at the cube in a certain perspective and you see the hexagon in two-dimensional. That's the hex. And lo and behold, what is the Phoenician equivalent of the lowercase t? It's an X without a circle around it. Suppose that's why they put the X on the line to sign, to crucify yourself, huh? See the spiritual allegories, the anagogics here. I would surmise it would be interesting to see someone that would go in to play the game of getting alone and putting a circle around that X. Just for gets and shiggles. If you know what I just said, that would just be pure poison to it. But again, we don't play that game any longer, at least the ones that truly know who they are and know the poison of the system. We just don't play there. But again, if you need to pay rent or whatever the case may be, until you know how to handle it, stay the course as you know it. I've found too many times people making choices and decisions without full knowledge of what it is they're doing. They'll stop paying for something, then all of a sudden something changes, and they don't know how to handle it. And all too often, people give in too quickly. They'll get handed notices here and notices there if they haven't paid their gas or mortgage or whatever. And they'll answer the damn things. And the instant you answer it, you're in contract. Because you're actually thinking that that's real. If you stop paying something, the only time that they can turn anything off, gas, electricity, water, whatever the case may be, is when you decide to go back into contract with them. They can't collect a penny, and they can't do a damn thing until they get you in contract with that legal name. That's how the system works. It works in the same way with everything. It is magical. Very, very magical. You won't believe this because you're stuck in a meat stick mentality. I don't want you to believe anything I'm saying. I want you to know this. I want you to know it for yourself. I was on with Mike this morning. Great show this morning with Mike and the crew. And that's the difference between the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius. The age of Pisces is still a bunch of duality fish heads that believe this or believe that, or don't believe this or don't believe that. When you say I believe something, well, there's doubt there. I love this example of it. I don't believe 1 + 1 = 2. I know it does. The Aquarius is not a date or a time. It's a state of being. It's a realization. The truth of consciousness A-G-E. And of course, take the G out and put the K in. And there you have Ak, which is the mirror of Ka, the personified spirit. Ak is the true spirit. So the true spirit of consciousness of Aquarius. We know things and choose to know things versus believe them or not believe them. Oh, Kate, I don't believe what you're saying. I don't give a shit what you believe. You do the research, you'll find it for yourself, and then you too will know the things that we know at this table. Table isn't about beliefs and new cager concepts and ringing little bells over people, somehow thinking it's going to magically do something, from, especially when people don't know their arse from a hole in the ground, but it looks cool. Wow, that's really neat. What are you doing? Well, you're still manifesting something that somebody else created. You're just mimicking it again, copycats. I choose to be as original as I can possibly be. You leave the age of Pisces when you stop believing and start knowing something for a change. That's the problem with talking heads on TV. They'll spew this out about, well, this happened because so-and-so attacked so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. And the people will believe anything. I'll tell you, they don't know what's going on because they weren't there. Party interloping information. So they've been able to get wars to happen. They tell you enough things about some foreign country that is evil this and evil that. Oh, they'll get the ego and emotions, and I prefer emotions actually over ego. They'll get the emotions all stirred up, and lo and behold, there you have Operation Desert Storm, because a bunch of idiots in the U.S., the general populace, believed the bullshit that was coming out of the talking heads' mouths, regurgitating the liars from the governments. You know the rules. How do you know when a lawyer or a government official is lying? Their lips are moving. Any questions? I'll tell you what you know. What you know is what you experience. And we just moved up into Capricorn. The I experience. The mirror of I know. Isn't it funny that feet is Pisces, Aquarius is shins, and Capricorn is knees? The only time you will truly know something, a.k.a. Christ consciousness, is when you experience it. Stick your hand in I believe if I stick my hand in the fire, it'll hurt. Go ahead and try. You won't believe it anymore. You'll know it. Just an allegory. It's like people that say, "Well, I don't like cabbage." Have you ever eaten it? Well, no. Then how the hell do you know you don't like it? Oh, that's right, because you believe somebody else has said they didn't like it and you thought it was cool and you took on their ego imprint. Well, the rest of my class doesn't like this, so I'm going to go right along with them and say I don't like it either. And that's how society works in general. We're too cowardly to stand on our own 2 feet and say, screw that, this is what I think, and I'm going to stand in this. Because I know this to be real for me, I've had this experience, and screw everybody else that thinks otherwise. I don't need your approval, nor do I care if I get a disapproval. You've got nothing to do with my personal reality, my consciousness, and my experience, other than the fact that you're an illusion outside of me. Going back to the truth and the fact that you are the only point of consciousness you can prove. I'm just a figment of your imagination. Again, I'm just that nagging voice in the back of your head saying, wake up, dopey. Stop thinking so much. Get your Gemini and your Virgo in order here. I think I analyze. Yeah, keep doing that and you'll destroy yourself. Stop analyzing and stop thinking. Start observing it from an objective point of view. To be objective is to stand outside of it and just observe it. To be subjective is to be emotionally involved, sticking your nose in where it don't belong. That's why kings and queens have subjects. They want you to be subjective. Get neutral on this. Become the neutral observer. It's quite simple. So the question is, are you a legal name, or are you just a name that you know yourself to be? The trick is, if I can get you to say something that I can assume and presume you're the legal name, because I'm one of the idiots in the system trying to contract that to make my commissions and whatever, that's a different story. Simple. I'll use the example again. Friend says, "Hey, Dorothy," and Dorothy goes, "Hey, how's it going?" Cop, bailiff, server, whatever, I don't care what it is, says, "Are you Dorothy blank, blank, blank?" "No, have a nice day." When you say no, there is no assumption and presumption that you can be, because you just said no. And until they get you to spiritually commit in contract through the heart and mind, thinking, believing, accepting that you are a legal name when asked that question. This is exactly what I told Arthur up north. This is what stopped the vampires and the werewolves. I told them the next time they come to the door, and they will, and they did. When they say, "Are you so-and-so?" you say no and close the door and walk away. And what thanks do I get? Well, not that I want any. I get removed from Skype contacts. That's nice, thank you. You're welcome. I was able to help you keep your home. That's been my intent all along, for everyone to keep what they already have and stop these parasites from destroying you, owning your soul, claiming your children, to keep this thing going on ad nauseum. Hey, not only do we have the Dalai Lama thinking that putting a spirit in a cyborg is a good idea, in full support of 2045.com, now you have Pope Francis coming out saying, hey, Pimp Frankie, saying, oh, the RFID chip's okay. It's not the mark of the beast. Yeah, gotta love the Jesuit idiots, eh? Just gets stupider and dumber by the day. You know, all these people talking about OnStar in their cars. Oh, it's great because if I lock my key, and they sold everybody on this bullshit, right? Oh, if I lock my keys in the car, I can just call OnStar and they'll unlock it from satellite. That's great, yeah. Then of course you're traveling along and you're a full slave, and somebody cop pulls up behind you and wants to stop your car. They don't have to do anything except call OnStar and say, give them the plate and just turn the engine off, hit the kill switch. That's what an RFID can do. May I suggest that you actually know that you're not a legal name, and if you know this, you can never be chipped, because they have to get you to confess to be their name before they can do anything to their meat stick, to their soul slave. Contract is that which you accept. And I do not accept any assumption or presumption in any way, shape, or form that I am a legal name, because I know it's pure fraud. I do not aid and abet and hang out and be party to any frauds. And that's why I've scared the living shit out of the system for as long as I have. And it hasn't been that long. I've only been in this game 4.5 years, which is why I scratch my head most times wondering why some of these most brilliant people, in terms of legal and everything else, couldn't figure this out. It's really simple. But I know why, because they're too intellectual, they're too left-brained, and they can't see the fact that everything they've done in terms of legal research and all the rest was absolutely useless. I see that it's absolutely useless, and I did just as much, if not more than some. Actually, a lot more than most. And it was worthless, but I had to see it in order to see the contrast of neutralizing it. In that, I'll take the victory. It's easy. Good, I'm glad I learned all of this so I can tell everyone it's bullshit. I even spent 28 days in solitary putting it. They change the rules as they go. I don't play Monopoly with somebody that changes the rules, owns the banks, owns the real estate, owns the train stations, owns the hydro, owns the electricity company or the gas company, and the jails, of course, and someone that wants to control the number on the dice that I roll and the game piece that I move around. Sorry, I don't play Monopoly with that. I go create my own game. Thank you very much. Not going to take part in your jurisdiction, Monopoly. And the only thing that gets you there, and that can drive you there, is you thinking that you are a legal name. But understand the subtle difference between your name and the legal name and how it can be assumed and presumed. Once you get that, you've mastered it. And if you need to pay rent somewhere, then pay it until you can figure it out. If you're not ready to jump, then don't. Take the steps that are required. If you can take a big leap because you know who you are and you're strong enough, and you've heard many of us that have been, and that's not making less of you or anybody else. The whole point of this, people, is to keep you safe. Knowledge is the key to this. With enough knowledge and experience, you gain wisdom. If you haven't got the wisdom to do this, then don't. That's just retarded. Seriously, if you've never been on a BMX motorbike, would you go down to the arena and try to make a 200-foot jump? Or would you go on the kiddie track for a little bit just to see how the bike worked? Ride the kiddie track. Take the kiddie roller coaster. I don't care what it takes. Just get on the ride. You choose the height of the roller coaster and the size of the track and the distances you want to jump. You don't have to keep up with anybody. This isn't a competition. Lose the competition mentality altogether. That's what's killing you. I don't compete with anybody. I just co-create. Works better this way. Do what you are capable of doing and nothing more. Because nothing will slow you down more than biting off more than you can chew and having a fail, at which point you're going to doubt yourself even further, digging you deeper into Piscean territory. I'd like to see you in the age of Aquarius here. Do the things that you know and only the things that you know. And if you have doubts, spend the time. Ponder it. Get quiet. Stop thinking. When you do that, the answers come. Did for me and done for so many others that I've talked to. The ones that were patient enough just to sit down and shut up for 5 minutes. It's a problem with the physical reality. You give a lifetime a certain amount of time and everyone's in a hurry to get shit done when the truth is you're immortal. Death's the illusion that people bought into. It's all energy here. Are you the master of your reality or the slave to it? Take the baby steps to victory instead of trying to take the big jumps to failure. You'll find it a lot easier and you'll have a lot more fun and you'll be smiling a lot more. Your confidence will grow a lot faster and your steps will get bigger. Because when you get to a certain point, you just can't wait to take the next one because it's so much fun. That's the beauty of knowledge that you've climbed up. When you know something, you climb one more ledge. That's no ledge, knowledge. And through the experience of that climb, you get the wisdom. And when you have the wisdom, you have the peace of mind. You're not paranoid about some new world order or RFID garbage. And man, the system is just ramping it up right now. It's funny as hell. But anyway, I'm going to shut up now and get Randy into the call here. Get Mike's mic open as well. How many have I got here? I've got 4. I'll open up the mics right now, Randy. But let's talk a bit about your little adventure today first. Area code. Now, I'm going to open up the mics here. If there's any sound, I'm going to mute them, guys. But just to let you know that you had your hand up, I'll open the mic. 740, your mic is open. And 267, your mic is open. And I know I don't have to worry about Mike because he's a radio host. He gets it. And, Steve Mahon, get yours open. All right, so we'll open that for now. And, Randy, let's have a little chat. Are you there?
Yo, sister. Yes.
Now, was that painfully simple enough for people, you think? Or am I going to have to keep explaining this?
I want to create that we reach a point soon where we no longer need to explain this.
Great. That means I can finally go off the air. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. We can start cleaning up the earth, etc., whatever it is. I would love it. but you have heard the recording. Even the ball member did not appear to know the truth. Just blindly jumping in a pool full of muck. He did. Did he not?
Well, here's the thing. You brought up a couple of things during the conversation that made him realize. Like, it was a constant... tell you what, Randy, have you got the recording available there that you can play it? Because it was loud enough today when you played it for me. I have a copy of it here. I've still got to transfer it to MP3 before I can load it up. But play it right through for everybody, and everyone pay attention. This is only, 3-4 minutes? It's not very long.
I think it was. Well, you stop it whenever you want, sister.
Well, let's make a minute. No, I want everyone to go through it, to hear it all the way through, and then I'll give a little synopsis of it. But I want people to get the full energy of what transpired between you and this Baal worshipping high priest bar member talked about today, because it ended rather quickly, and we're going to get into the anagogics of it as well. So why don't you just play that in its entirety, and then we can come back and I'll address a couple of things, and
cool.
We'll go from there. Does that work?
Cool.
All right. Fire it up.
Beautiful. God says start.
On schedule that would accommodate Riverside's needs and accommodate her schedule. Okay, I understand that. That's the contract.
Shall I set this up for folks?
Yeah, give a little setup for it, and that way, and play it right back so we don't have the bleep, 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 bleep. I want to hear everything this guy has to say. So give a little setup and then play it.
Okay, so their former employee started out great, turned to crap, would not stick to recipes. This is a kitchen, this is a cafe. My brother has tried and true recipes for over 24 years. They work, people love them, etc. There's a little doctoring, but that's it. Hers were way off. I would write her up about it. And then she'd be good for maybe a day or two, a shift or two. And we have a chef there. She wrote a scathing letter to him. If you have 30 years experience, you'd know these things, blah, blah, whatever. I posted a new schedule. She was the only one who received more hours, the only one. And I had a pen and paper with me to write notes because there was another cook with her at the time. And I said, let me know what you think. Okay, because I had already spoken to people. I knew what they wanted, what they were looking for, etc. She said, well, that's not what I want. I'm not going to do that. I said, well, tell me specifically what? Well, those are my hours. You know I don't have a car. I can't be here at, if I have to be here at 4, I got to get on the bus at 1. I said, I'm sorry. I said, we'll do this for a week, and then we'll work it out. We'll work out the kinks. Well, I can't do it. I'm not doing it. So about 4 times, and I said, you know what? I said, I've asked you for specifics other than that one, and you haven't given them to me. There's 3 doors to this place. Use one if you want. And she said, well, I'm gone. She wasn't convicted in her statement. So then she wanted, after that, she did quit. She wanted unemployment, which she was denied. And then, 2 days after she quit, she called me numerous times, 3, 4, 5 times. Finally, I did call her back. She was in tears begging for her job back. I said, it's just not going to work. I don't want you here. No one feels comfortable with you. We don't trust you, etc. There had been things that were missing, which was odd. Cases of sausage, etc. And then that stopped when she was gone. What do you know? And then my brother 2 months later gets after she's denied unemployment, gets letters of sexual harassment, for you Brits, sexual harassment, from her, stating myself, or manager and Riverside Cafe. So here we are in the bar member's office. Before this, I've stated to him, well, I'm not a name. you are aware of the fraud, the name fraud. He doesn't get it. He's playing dumb. I don't know. My brother is in the room. 3 of us. Here we go.
The willingness to work and a lack of willingness on her part to work on a schedule that would accommodate Riverside's needs and accommodate her schedule. Okay, I understand that. That's the contract. Okay. All this is saying is that this is what happened between us, in which she terminated her contract because she wouldn't cooperate with making a schedule that would work for her and for Riverside, be mutually beneficial. She wouldn't do it, and then she said, I quit. Okay? There's no...
She actually said, I'm gone, but yeah.
Okay, I'm just reading the words here.
Yeah. If I put I quit.
So, well then...
I'm gone, I quit.
I said, so you quit, and she said, yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So all this is acknowledging that this is the conversation that took place between you and Lisa. Signing this does not make this a contract between you and Lisa or anyone else. It's simply a statement of the events that took place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. And if we go to a hearing, then somebody needs to, if the person who heard this and created this document, had this interchange with Lisa, has to testify that this is what took place. Now, it's not a contract, Randy.
I am the one who created the document. Clarify.
You want a Randy Johnson? That's your legal name?
There is no legal name. I don't play in the legality.
Okay.
So let me get some advice. I'll get back to you. Okay? You still need Shelby to... You need Shelby's signet on there also. You need Shelby's signet on there also. Right?
Well, Shelby didn't create this document.
But him stating that, yes, these events happened, that's going to help you too, right? The more the merrier.
Well, if Shelby agrees that this is what took place and this is what he heard, and he heard all of the conversation between you and Lisa, yes, he can confirm it. But, you know, he did not have this exchange with Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, this is not a contract in any sense, and signing your name to it does not say I'm entering into a contract.
And this here, isn't that an offer to contract?
It's not.
Now that there was the document stating, 15 to 20 pages stating her sexual harassment thing. Okay? Legality, blah, blah.
It's not the contract. It's a
It's a
complaint.
mediation.
It's a complaint against Riverside Cafe 2 for an allegation, unfounded, of sexual harassment.
Mm-hmm.
And once that comes forward, we either respond and defend it, or we don't, and damages are going to be assessed against Paul. Paul's the one, Riverside Cafe is the one that is damaged by this. We can't simply say we don't deal in legality, so we don't recognize your authority, and as a result, we're not going to participate in the process. Well, they have the ability to get a judgment against Paul and issue garnishment against Paul to satisfy that judgment for damages if we don't respond. So if you don't have to agree that they have the authority, but under the state of Kansas, the laws of the state of Kansas, they have the authority as the Kansas Human Rights Commission to make a finding and issue an order. You don't have to agree with it, but that's the way the law is. Yeah.
And you're not aware of any of this name is fraud. You said anyone is fraud. For you, maybe not, because you're a bar member. For anyone, if I use that so-called name, that is fraud. I do not own the name. I did not claim the name, so I don't own it. So how can I use it? Nobody's fault. Nobody's done anything. Okay. But you didn't answer the question.
Well, I disagree with you.
Either one you don't know or you do know.
No, I disagree with you.
So you don't know about it or you do know about it?
I think you're wrong. I know about it and I think you're wrong. Okay?
You know about it and you think if you know about it,
I have a name.
you're a bar
I
member.
have a name.
You're allowed to use your name. You're a British accreditation registry.
What difference does that make? I was
Makes a
born
difference
with
that
a
you've
name.
given an oath to the bar.
And you
to
have
the
never
crown.
signed anything in your life as Randy Johnson, you never signed anything ever?
Not anymore. No.
Well, I'm saying ever.
Those contracts are null and void.
What?
I've sent it to the Crown. I've sent it everywhere. I've sent it to the President, Secretary of State, the High Judge, you call him Mayor Brewer, all the attorneys, city attorney. I've emailed them. My intent is clear. I'm a living soul.
You're not.
Under God. I'm what? I'm not what?
No, I said
God says,
it's not.
God
you're
says,
not going to get anywhere.
God, Deuteronomy 4:2, God says, do not take away or add to my commandments. And what have we done? We have all these legalities. How many books do you have full of laws? What have we done? Are you either going to live by God's word or not? That's what I'm saying. I'm choosing I live by God's word. Okay? I'm not dealing with Satan. I'm not. He's not coming into my life, Paul. It's that simple.
Okay.
BAR stands for ball. British Accreditation Registry. Call me a liar. That's not what it stands for?
That's correct. But it doesn't matter.
That is correct.
It doesn't
Okay,
matter.
so you're dealing with the Crown. Why do you want to pay the Queen something?
I'm not
To
saying
go to her court. You are. Am I lying?
You understand that this country was formed. We don't answer to the Queen. We have our own independent democracy, Republican democracy.
God.
Hey, get out of here.
Who owns it?
Get out of here. I'm not going to listen to this shit, okay? You're insulting me.
I'm not insulting
You're
you.
insulting me. Get the hell out of here. I'm serious.
Okay.
Get out of here.
All right.
Now.
Okay. It's not my intent to insult you.
Well, you did.
If you choose to be, that's your choice.
Out.
You hurt the poor baby's feelings. Before you get going here, Randy, let me just share something. In the pure sense of the word of what that actually is, being a statement, it is, in the legal sense of the illusion, it is not a contract. But I'll tell you where the contract is. And this is how subtle it is. If Randy had have signed that, at that moment, he could have been assumed and presumed to be the legal name. And until they get the legal name, assumption, presumption, everything that this chick is talking about that's absolute bullshit can't go anywhere.
And
so it's a contract. Yeah, it's a contract to get you back into being a legal name. And I don't know, that was pretty clear as far as his reactions. Here's a guy that, well, yeah, I know about it, but, well, okay, well, if you know about it, why don't you tell me what you know about it? Because I know you're lying through your teeth. So I don't buy that this guy doesn't know what's going on. He's got a really good handle on what's going on, and any lawyer at any level knows that in order to get anything moving, they have to get the name, the legal name. And the reason why most of them aren't fully aware of it is because people have been going along with it, so they haven't had to be contested with it. And what's happening now is they're finally being confronted with the truth of it. And basically what it does is it destroys their livelihood. Yeah, they're going to get a little pissy. So go ahead, Randy.
Okay, well, yes, and pardon the email. I have, in retrospect, pondered this while doing laundry and cleaning the apartment today. And did you ever hear him deny? No, that's a lie. That's a lie. No, that is not true. Did you ever hear him say that? When you say that someone is a member of a demon, don't they normally say, hell no, heaven no, whatever they say? Don't they say no, no way? No, did you hear that? No, we did not. Now, just so everyone knows, this woman is accusing me of sexual harassment, so I have never, I've been in theater 25 years. All kinds of double spirits left and right. Not once have I cared. Just so you know. And I say this, claim this on my soul. I never said anything to this woman sexually, never did anything sexual to her, never even thought anything sexual about her.
Well, here, Randy,
let's clarify that, okay?
Let me clarify the fact that you know what happened and you know it's all bullshit, and I'm good enough with that. I will not question your own integrity. When I know someone that will question their own integrity, I will never have to. And this is the real trick to the game. If you can question your own integrity to the point where you make choices of what you would do and what you wouldn't do, and you're fully aware and cognizant of your responsibilities in all of your actions being known, shown, and seen. Randy, there is not an inkling in my empathic nature that says that you even need to say what you just said, because I already know.
I know you do, sister. I know you do. I know many at the table. I'm speaking more so my intent is clear to those newer listeners who are not aware of euphegenia, doubtfire, aware of, oh, dearie, or aware of any of my actions, of how many times I've stood up to a copper, a U.S. Marshal.
Hey, Randy, can we make it really obvious for people? You're sitting at the table with all of us here, and it just so happens that the host of this table is a tranny. Yeah, I get it. You're good. Let's move along.
You're a tranny? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know. Hey, yeah.
Yeah, right? Gemini.
Gemini. Yep. So I get it. It's all good. This is why this is such a joke. But anyway, let's focus on the real thing at hand here. The rest of that, it's all bogus. It's all bullshit. But what it's done is it's enabled us to bring this to the table and show it for the bullshit it is. Bail shit, if you want. What you have here is a bail member whose entire livelihood, every lawyer and judge and cop's livelihood is on the line here. They're going to be a little defensive. They're going to whinge and whine a lot because they're getting caught out in the fraud. The racket's up. You see, nothing pisses off and scares a liar more than being caught in a lie, especially one that they're basing their entire existence and livelihood on. So, when you run into these things with these individuals, don't be surprised if they get the hair on the back of their neck up when they're exposed for what they truly are. And it's basically like this: oh, don't tell anybody, I still want to screw people. No, we just don't do that anymore. And we certainly don't tolerate and don't allow it. But you nailed. I talked to you earlier today. We went through this together today, listening to it. And I already told you, you didn't bring out the 3 1/4-inch pass load, man. You brought out the 9-inch nails and you crucified him. Better yet, he crucified himself in his answers. If you want, we'll get a couple of comments here, but I would really like you to play that one more time all the way through. And I want you to pay close attention to the silences this lawyer has. I'm listening for the silence, right? That's when I know the wheels are turning in someone's head, okay? And then look at the defenses that he comes up with, and they're all bullshit. Again, it's all about deflecting, getting it away from. So maybe if you want, we got a few mics open here, and maybe get some comments from people on that, and then tell you what, let's just save the bother. It's only a few minutes long. Play it one more time, Randy, and I want people to listen to the subtleties, understanding that if Randy were to sign that, it is a contract where he's saying that I'm the legal name. And that is the one that is not blatantly obvious. You can call it an affidavit or a statement or whatever you want. That's not the contract. The contract is agreeing to be a legal fiction within their system. And there's no way on this earth that Randy would ever do that. And that's the power Randy has, and he cornered this guy to the point where, get out of here, you're insulting me. Well, I'm sorry about your frail little ego. Maybe you might want to go to the bathroom and have someone change your diapers, lawyer boy. But I know a liar when I hear one. More importantly, I know a liar when I feel one. So play it again, Randy, and listen to the subtleties and pay close attention to the questions that Randy is addressing him with and his reactions. Always look for the reactions. And listen to how carefully he chooses his words, and he screwed up a few times, very blatantly, and he backtracked. So play it again, Randy, and then we'll get everybody jumping in here. We'll probably roll over for a bit. We got 41 minutes. Maybe I should do a quick shout out here. For those that want to call in, you can call in at 661-467-2401. Just going to quickly check to see what the BTR listener number is.
BTR listener number is 059.
059, that's what it was today, earlier. Neat. Okay, so if you want to get on via Skype, just do the quick cheat, BTR listener 059 in your Skype search contacts. Hit search when it comes up. Just right-click it, hit call, brings you right to the board. Or you can go through the Blog Talk page and hit Skype there and follow the bouncing ball to get here. Once you're here, speaking of bouncing balls, you had one bouncing in that in that room today. Once you get here, just hit 1 on your dial pad on the phone, or open your dial pad on Skype, hit 1 there. And a great big thank you to Paul Giovanni and the crew at criticalmassradio.co.uk. Anything you feel you can flow, an intent, energy, whatever the case may be, thank you. We do this together. This table is just getting bigger and bigger. Randy, roll 'em.
You were all with me, by the way.
On a schedule that would accommodate Riverside's needs and accommodate her schedule. Okay, I understand that. That's the contract. All this is saying is that this is what happened between us, in which she terminated her contract because she wouldn't cooperate with making a schedule that would work for her and for Riverside, be mutually beneficial. She wouldn't do it, and then she said, I quit. Okay? There's no...
She actually said, I'm gone, but yeah.
Okay, I'm just reading the words here.
If I put I quit.
Well then...
I'm gone, I quit.
I said, so you quit, and she said, yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So all this is acknowledging that this is the conversation that took place between you and Lisa. Signing this does not make this a contract between you and Lisa or anyone else. It's simply a statement of the events that took place.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And if we go to a hearing, then somebody needs to, if the person who heard this and created this document, had this interchange with Lisa, has to testify that this is what took place. Now, it's not a contract, Randy.
You want a Randy Johnson? That's your legal name?
There is no legal name. I don't play in the legality.
Okay.
So let me get some advice. I'll get back to you. Okay? You still need Shelby's signet on there also. You need Shelby's signet on there also. Right?
Well, Shelby didn't create this document.
But him stating that, yes, these events happened, that's going to help you too, right? The more the merrier.
Well, if Shelby agrees that this is what took place and this is what he heard, and he heard all of the conversation between you and Lisa, yes, he can confirm it. But, he did not have this exchange with Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, this is not a contract in any sense, and signing your name to it does not say I'm entering into a contract.
And this here, isn't that an offer of the contract?
It's not an offer of the contract. It's a
It's a mediation.
It's a complaint against Riverside Cafe for an allegation, unfounded, of sexual harassment.
Mm-hmm.
And once that comes forward, we either respond and defend it, or we don't, and damages are going to be assessed against Paul. Paul's the one, Riverside Cafe is the one that is damaged by this. We can't simply say we don't deal in legality, so we don't recognize your authority, and as a result, we're not going to participate in the process. Well, they have the ability to get a judgment against Paul and issue garnishment against Paul to satisfy that judgment for damages if we don't respond. So if you don't have to agree that they have the authority, but under the state of Kansas, the laws of the state of Kansas, they have the authority as the Kansas Human Rights Commission to make a finding and issue an order. You don't have to agree with it, but that's the way the law is.
And you're not aware of any of this, that the name is fraud, use of the name is fraud.
Use of whose name?
Use of any name is fraud. For you, maybe not, because you're a bar member. For anyone, if I use that so-called name, that is fraud. I do not own the name. I did not claim the name, so I don't own it. So how can I use it? Nobody's fault. Nobody's done anything. Okay. But you didn't answer the question.
Well, I disagree with you.
Either one, you don't know, or you do know.
No, I disagree with you.
So you don't know about it, or you do know about it?
I think you're wrong. I know about it, and I think you're wrong. Okay?
You know about it, and you think if you know about it,
I have a name.
you're a bar member.
I have a name.
You're allowed to use your name. You're a British accreditation register.
What difference does that make? I was
Makes
born
difference
with
that
a
you've
name.
given an oath to the bar.
And you have
To the
never
crown.
signed anything in your life, as Randy told me, or Randy Johnson, you never signed anything ever?
Not anymore, no.
Well, I'm saying ever.
Those contracts are null and void.
But,
I've sent it to the Crown. I've sent it everywhere. I've sent it to the President, Secretary of State, the High Judge, you call him Mayor Brewer, all the attorneys, city attorneys. I've emailed them. My intent is clear. I'm a living soul.
You're not.
Under God. I'm what? I'm not what?
No, I said
God says,
it's not.
God
you're
says,
not going to get anywhere.
God, Deuteronomy 4:2, God says, do not take away or add to my commandments. And what have we done? We have all these legalities. How many books do you have full of laws? What have we done? Are you either going to live by God's word or not? That's what I'm saying. I'm choosing I live by God's word. Okay? I'm not dealing with Satan. I'm not. He's not coming into my life, Paul. It's that simple.
Okay.
BAR stands for BAL, British Accreditation Registry. Call me a liar. That's not it, what it stands for?
that's correct. But it doesn't matter.
That is correct.
It doesn't
Okay,
matter.
so you're dealing with the crown. Why do you want to pay the queen something?
I'm not
To
saying
go to her court. You are. Am I lying?
You understand that
Okay.
we became, this country was formed, we don't answer to the Queen, we have our own independent democracy, Republican democracy.
God.
Hey, get out of here.
Who owns it?
Get out of here. I'm not going to listen to this shit, okay? You're insulting me.
I'm not
You're
insulting
insulting
you.
me. Get the hell out of here. I'm serious.
Okay.
Get out of here.
All right.
Now.
Okay.
Oh, poor baby. What a poor baby.
You did.
If you
Kill it, man. It's just listen to this guy whinge and whine like a 3-year-old. It's just nauseating. Here's the truth, Randy, and if you get an opportunity, and maybe if your brother can actually listen to this portion of the show at least. You see, here's the joke of it. What's pissing that lawyer off is the fact that if he doesn't get a legal name out of you, he's got nothing. He can't play. In the same way that if he doesn't get an presumption of legal name out of your brother, there's no case. It goes away. They got nothing. And everything that they talk about, well, that's legal, that's the law. It's not. It's all illusion. The only contract that they need to get is the name. And once they got that, then you're in the matrix, and they'll fleece you. They'll scrape you across the floor and empty your pockets, and they'll make it go on and on and on and on to the point where it's not bad enough that your soul's getting emptied to give these entities life, that they're going to take all of your creations out of it as well. Anyway, so just a little pointer for your brother. They got nothing without the legal name. There is no case. There is no ka se, spirit of creation. They can't do it. It's that simple.
I comprehend what we've always talked about, right? What you have shown me the door and given me the key to. And I still have ways to go.
Well, you owned that guy pretty good today, and what he was talking about when he said about, have you never signed a legal document or it? Yeah, well, you see, my answer would have, well, of course we have. I said yes, but you see, I don't live in the past, you see. And when I find out that I've been committing fraud this whole time based on your bar society's deceptions and the crown master entities that you serve, that is a pure fraud at the registration with intent to deceive my parents into giving up me through a legal name contract, it's null and void upon the realization of that.
The most difficult...
Their game's over. They're toast.
They are toast, and we all know that. But the most difficult thing for me, and granted, yes, I have resolved and ended all spiritual contracts with my family to keep them safe, to keep them in their realm and me where I am. If they want to come here and ask me, I answer. The most difficult thing before I went in was I'm parking on the street, and I'm thinking, I had this thought come in, they'll tow my truck. And then I said, ego, just shut up and go away. And then I'm thinking, don't injure your brother. Don't injure your brother. And I said, shut up. Go away. Because I had this breathing that wasn't right. Well, he went in first, I saw him on the corner, and I parked, and I walked across the street, etc., and went in there, and I just stood there, and I looked at the building, and I looked at the sky, and I just remembered that you were all right there with me. And then I entered, and that was the best part of it. The difficult part still was knowing that my brother was there, and I did not want to injure him in any way. I still do not. I don't want to injure anybody. I don't want to injure an ant. Let me be very clear. I don't want to injure anybody, anything. There's a soul in an ant. There's a soul in us. Okay? So there you go. That was it. And then going in, and as I walked down their hallway, knowing, and I'm chuckling to myself still, because he's so in the illusion and so attempting to keep my brother in that illusion, and I'm chuckling and just felt like, I don't know, I was floating. Felt like mushrooms. Felt great. A relief. I did not know what I would do in front of my brother. I did not. That's why I was so timid at first. And then I just, floodgates.
Oh, I felt your energy lifting as you went through that. Your brother was there with you at that in that meeting, yes?
Yes, he was across the table from.
Yeah, notice something, and I'm going to hand him a lot of respect here. He didn't say a word.
Because he did tell me yesterday, he said, no, I think you're fucking crazy. I think there's some truth to what you say and what you believe. And then I said, it's not my belief. It's what I know, brother. And he said, well, call it what you want, but so there you go.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you that he was sitting in that conversation today. He got an opportunity and play that recording back for your brother and sit and point these things out to him. You see how he flinches here? Yes, I know, but I'm not going to tell you the truth, because if I do, I won't be able to fleece you for whatever number of $1,000 I can in this pseudo protection racket. Basically, that's what the whole legal system is. It's the mob. I'll tell you, the legal system gives the mob a bad name. The only difference between mob racketeering with machine guns is these mobsters do it in suits. And they use the other uniformed goonies called cops to go out and do their shooting for them.
Policy enforcers, just look at how their overlords feel about them. They give them dog tags.
Oh yeah. And we've had enough former police, and I have a couple of active police people that I communicate with that are working to change things from the inside. But we've had this told to us too many times from many countries around the world: Australia, the UK, Europe, Canada, U.S.
And
it's all
I
there.
will say, as I stopped the truck, I did recall White, our white knight, our little white knight, who is so large. Yeah. But, you know, the one thing I would point out to my brother is, does he deny that he's a ball member? Does he deny it, brother? Ever? Does he call me a liar? Does he emphatically state no? Ever? Ever? 1 inch of it? 1 millimeter of it? 1 breath of it?
No. He's used to, I'll tell you, that was a cross-examination. That lawyer failed miserably. Because I'll tell you right now, in that arena, if there was a judge involved, which, of course, this is just literal shit, but let me share this with you. There was a number of times that a judge would have stepped in and said, answer the damn question. And you know, that would be in the real world, okay? But we're dealing in a fantasy legal land where they're all delusional. They're all in on the scam, whether they're aware of it or not, doesn't matter. The whole system is based on the scam of the name. It's really that simple. So maybe I've got some mics open here, Randy. Let's get some other people in here and questions and comments regarding it, and their feelings on it. And whoever wants to jump in first, please feel free. I've got all the mics open. And,
hey, Kate.
Hey, who we got?
This is Derwin.
Derwin, how are you? I didn't recognize the voice there. My headset's a bit weird.
Yeah.
There you go. Good to have you.
I'm great. I'm great. I just had a victory right before the show. A process server showed up looking for a name.
And didn't get one, and they had to run away, right?
Yes, he did. He had an ID, and he was looking, and he said, he tried, and he said the cops will be back. I said, that's fine, whatever, I said, so yeah, I didn't accept any paperwork, didn't touch it. He tucked tail and ran.
Dope!
So maybe what we're sharing at the table is real. Is that what you're saying, Derwin? That you've actually experienced it for yourself, and it's quite real. The magic shows up, and you see the faces and them running away. Are we making this shit up, buddy, or is this real?
No, I was a little shook up, because the doorbell rang, and I had to go upstairs because I didn't want my dad answering it, and of course he doesn't know any of this stuff, so I didn't want him to give a name, but so yeah, it works. I mean. So if the cops come, I'm standing my ground. I'm not giving any name. I know who I am. There'll be no legal names. I'm alive. I'm not dead.
Perfect. Stand your ground, stand in truth, and watch the werewolves run away.
Oh.
This happens all the time, and we've had so many people come to the table here and go, yeah, no name. They had to go. They had to run away. I go back to that art and the house up north. He talked to me the one day because the sheriff had served. I was standing there the day I left. The sheriff showed up and put a notice on the door because he gave the potential of assumption and presumption by "Are you so and so?" And he said, "Well, no, that's a person. That's a legal name." And there it is right there. So you still think you're that individual? Okay, you still haven't figured it out that you're not. The simple answer, and the only answer the only answer I accept is okay, and the only answer that I will give if anyone was ever to ask me for the name in terms of assumption and presumption, and the answer is simple. It's no. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Go back to your dead land.
He was fishing. He said, have you ever been in the past? I said, nope. So he was trying. Oh, yeah. They'll again, these guys are trained to lie. They're trained for the subtle. Look at the most basic subtle thing that is the catch-22 of it's gone now. The word refuse. Do you refuse to have a lawyer? You're damned if you say yes and damned if you say no. Refuse, rejoin, or to say no. Which one? Depends on your definition. And the one that you won't see in the dictionary is the one that says that's an electrician putting a fuse in between a circuit to refuse it. That's how joinder is created. Remember, this is an energy game. That's why they use fuses and circuit judges and cells. Okay? So pay attention to the phonics in this game. It all works magically. All the way up and down, back and front. I don't care what way you look at it. It's all the same shit. So well done, Derwin. Everyone, big round of clap for the system. A big round of applause for Derwin. I was a little shook up, I let my emotions get involved because I'm not used to dealing with stuff like that. But, I stood my ground. So it's just like I said, it's going to get easier, the more you stand in truth. And
baby steps.
I'm not giving up on this. I mean, I'm here. I'm alive. I'm not going to pretend like I'm dead. So they're going to have to deal with me.
Yeah, the living you, and they can't contract. The dead that carry legal fiction names can't contract with the living who say, no names here, mate. No? It's a good thing White wants.
I just wanted to share that, yeah.
Because you'd probably say, no names here, mate. Fuck off. Because that's exactly what you're saying. No names here, mate. Take a hike. There's your bike. Get on it and ride. Oh, by the way, give me the seat. I want you to feel what it really feels like every time you show up and try to contract a soul into death. Hey, little voices. I love little voices. Anybody else want to jump in here? We've had just
hello.
There you are.
Hello?
Right in your face answers. Hey, how are you doing?
Hi, this is Leah.
How are ya?
Hi, I'm good. First of all, I wanted to send my intention, and I wanted to send loving and positive energy your way because I really appreciate the things that you guys are doing, and, you know, waking people up is finally about that time. And I'm a single mother, and I have, you know, I've been following you guys for a while now, and I've always felt something wasn't right, so I just decided to just, you know, basically drop the name. But something happened to me about a month ago to where I was traveling on the highway, and I was pulled over by an officer because he said that it was illegal to drive with tinted windows. So, you know, I pull over, and he asks, he tells me, excuse me, roll down your window. And I said, what, officer, what's the emergency? So he says, I told you roll down your windows. And I said, no, you have to tell me what's the emergency because I'm not committing a crime, and I didn't get into that accident. I'm not hurting anybody. So he says, you have tinted windows, and it's illegal, and you're committing a crime. And I said, well, can you prove it? So then he says, ma'am, I'm not going to dispute anything with you. And I said, well, you pulled me over. You have me pulled over on the side of the road. Can I have a business card if you're going to conduct business with me? And he's just about this point getting frustrated. He says, give me your name. I said, I'm infinite consciousness. I have no name. I'm a living soul. And this officer opens my door and takes my keys out the car, and he says, get out of the car. And I said, no. And he yanks my arm. He pulled my wrist, and, like, it looked like the devil was going to come out of him. And I'm like, are you seriously, like, you take your job that serious? Like, I can't even believe what's going on right now. So he's like, I don't want to hear another word from you. Either you give me your name or you're going to get arrested. And I said, look, you can take me wherever you want because my body's not bounded by this material world. I don't care. So he calls another officer. The officer starts, you know, going through my car, just looking through everything. And I'm like, you know, so I didn't consent to you doing this. And I said, well, right about now, being as though that I'm here by myself, you guys don't give a shit what you're doing to me. So it was just like back and forth. They just did not care. They just, like, mishandled me. Everything put me in the back of the cop car, took me to the some place in New Jersey, Mount Laurel, New Jersey. They arrested me. I would not give my name for anything. They forced me to take fingerprints, and it was just crazy. So we were there for about a couple of hours. They kept saying, give me your name, give me your name. I did not. I refused the whole time. I said, I'm not contracting with anybody. I refused. So I guess my cell phone rang, and they picked up my phone, and whoever called me gave them, you know, some information about me. I don't know what the story was, but anyway, when I got home, a friend of mine says, yeah, I called, and I said, your name was, you know, so-and-so. So I'm like, why would you do that? You know, but I'm like, that's irrelevant anyway. But it's like the officer got my name, and they started, like, signing paperwork for me because I refused.
Yeah, again, well, it's all fraud. And there's a prime example
right.
of carjacking and kidnapping under assumption and presumption of legal name. Yeah, nice friends you have.
Right, that's what I said. Like, you know, and I'm basically in this on my own because everybody that I know basically thinks that I flipped my wig. Like, they think I'm totally crazy. And I really don't care about this time because I'm like, when you understand the fraud that's going on, it's nothing but a fictitious system. They take the law of the sea and they put it onto the land. And it's like basically you're selling your soul for rights and for services and privileges. You want to give away your rights, that's on you. But it's like the day that happened and they gave my name and everything, I just totally stood by myself. I said, I don't even want to deal with people like this because if they think I'm crazy, then I don't need to be around closed-minded people in the first place.
Yeah, and again, a phone rings, and they deal on hearsay from a voice on the other end of the phone. Did they happen to ask your friend for their name?
What was that?
Did they happen to ask your friend on the phone for their name?
No, they asked for my name. They lied.
No, I realize that. I realize that. I just want you to see the subtleties here. Okay, so basically a voice comes in out of nowhere that claims that you're this, that, and the other. Look at how retarded these guys are. Look how desperate this system is. It's friggin' awesome.
Because I was telling him that I'm aware, that I'm a natural person on the land, and I was telling him that I do have rights. So then he tells me, can you do me a favor and sign this paper stating that I read you my rights? I said, no, you signed something for me stating that I read you my rights. And he said, I'm not doing that shit. I said, well, I'm not doing that shit either. And, he just forged the signature.
Yeah, see, they're counterfeiters, forgers. They'll do whatever it takes. This is how desperate the system is. Now, I really want you to see the power of what you just said there and how much system you destroyed in your experience. Mm-hmm. What you just exposed was the sheer desperation. Now, if you think for 1 second, somebody that isn't aware of what's going on as we are, has the same thing happen to them, you think that might wake them up a little bit? So if they're doing it to someone that knows...
Something that I felt good about defending myself was that when I was released, the officer says, because I have business cards, I'm a spiritual love and awareness coach. So he says, can I have one of your cards? Because, I told him, I was explaining to him that there's a shift going on and there's an awakening that's taking place right now, and that everyone who's basically selling out their energy to a corrupt system might not make it too far. And I said, if you have children and your children ask you what happened to their freedoms, what are you going to tell them? You were part of them, the reason to why they have no freedom or liberty. And I said, something you might want to think about. I don't know if you were indoctrinated, you don't know what's going on. You seem like a robot to me. You seem like you can't even think outside of the box right now. That's why you're bothering me. I said, but I'm not the one that's crazy here. I said, you really, switch that light on in your head, you're going to understand that the system you're in is the one that's crazy and they're taking you down with them. So then he's like, well, can you please give me one of your cards? Please explain it to me. And, maybe I'll have a shift in my thoughts or whatever. And, I was
as he tries to get the name on a business card. Yeah, keep going, hon.
Right, and it's not even my name, though, anyway, so I don't even care. I just make something up. But, right. I was just like, I told him, I said, why would I help you? You did not, my energy was not taken when this happened.
Here's the answer, hon. Here's the answer that I would have given. Here's what I would have said to him. I said, yeah, I'd love to give you a business card. Unfortunately, I only work with people with souls, and at this point you don't qualify, but thanks anyway.
Right. That's
and
true.
I just leave it at that. I hand the shit right back in their face. You want to play the soulless game with me? Well, I'm going to show you who you are by your actions, and I don't have a problem doing that because I can only stand in truth, and that is the truth. I said, I'd love to help you, but until you actually think that and realize that you have a soul, if you do, in fact, have one, I can't do anything for you. But listen, have a great day anyway. Much love.
Right, but, it's just like, everything was good, but he felt intimidated by me because I'm a female, I'm by myself, and it's like, you don't understand what I'm telling you. You don't understand. You speak legalese. You don't understand it, but you're in the system. Now, someone that comes and claims sovereignty is like you want to attack them. He literally, my wrist was red. My wrist was so red, and he just looked like he wanted to beat my ass. So I was just like, you know what? I said, this is not the end of this.
Well, yeah, if they're anything like the city of Guelph police, quote, services, unquote, they're likely jacked up on steroids and methadone. That's standard fare for the Guelph police. These guys were jacked up on it when they kidnapped me. I don't know about you, but, 20-plus syringes of steroids in a police locker, and nobody noticed it, and you want to call yourself an investigator of any kind? Are you kidding me? And only one or two guys get picked for?
There's
fair.
never
And that's what you're dealing with mostly now. Or you're dealing with jacked up jarheads that are so wound up. They got barking dog masters breathing down their neck for quotas, And these guys are unstable to begin with, because if they're any size at all, guaranteed they're jacked up on steroids to begin with. That's standard fare. That's common practice throughout all police departments around the planet.
Right.
And that makes people mentally unstable. Yeah, that's a good thing to have.
It was creepy because he really looked soulless, and I was like, oh my God, like if I'm coming out of my shell, I'm trying to, step by step, trying to learn, ways around concerning myself, getting myself completely out, because I once had an identification card, which I believe that's no different than a mugshot, which I don't even use it anymore. I created my own affidavit of truth, and I put my photo on. I got it notarized. That was also ripped, but he didn't get to take the side that had my name on it, because I snatched it and put it in my purse.
Well, honey, 1 second, back up here, because here's the thing that people need to get: do not create any form of identification at all,
right.
and even more so, don't even think of going to a notary.
Right.
Because that's all system. You see people that want to send in declarations of sovereignty and this now. We did that 4 years ago, guys.
One thing about it, intuitively, my conscience told me not to even worry about it, not to ever even use that, and I just said just to don't have anything.
I get it. Okay, I'm not saying these things for you to defend yourself. This is for, remember, right. We're talking to over 1 million people here, and I want to get this right. across to them. Okay, so what we can do at this table is show the contrast between each other. So this is for everybody. So I want to make crystal clear that anything that anyone does in this system, thinking they're going to, and I appreciate you bringing this up, because this is something that obviously needs covered again. Do not go and get notarized affidavit of truth and sovereignty, this and that and the other, because all you're doing is say. I'll tell you this right now: a notary will not notarize anything without what? Identification.
Right, your identification, and that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because I was confused about that. I said if I still have to give identification, then this isn't helping me too much, because I went online and I seen. Somebody said, do it this way, so I tried it, but I never actually, attempted to use it. That's why I grabbed it and put it in my purse, because I'm like, this is still showing some sort of identification if you're trying to claim, your natural person.
Okay, again, don't use any of these terms, guys. Lose the whole legal thing altogether. I really need to get this across. Okay, because this is free man on the land, sovereign citizen, patriot, legalese shite.
Okay.
Hey, hello,
you do not need to carry one piece of identification on you because you are in your vehicle, your vessel. Who the hell? This is insanity, and I love this. Somebody comes out to me and says, I need a CCD. What, you can't hear me talking? You can't see me in front of you? Have you got some sort of psychosis going on? Do I need to get a jacket and get you shipped away? That you need a piece of paper to talk for me? I can do that for me. You don't need a piece of paper. And now carry that in your heart.
Yeah, I heard David Icke talking about this also. He's just like, your infinite consciousness, you don't need anything. It's just some shite bullshit.
Oh, for sure. Michael wanted to jump in there. Mike, go ahead, my friend. Jump in here.
This is kind of like we could call it a paradox. What it is that when we're looking at the legal thing, and I'm looking at this, I'm like, wait a second. The system gives you a name. They own it. You don't. So you turn around and you go, excuse me, I can't use that because it's yours. I mean, game over. I mean, it isn't like I got to do something. It's like, wait a second, excuse me, that's yours. Here, take it back. And you don't have to, like you said, send anything off. It's just that understanding. Wait a second. And that's the funny thing. You get in the mind trapped in it, and I'm like, wait a second, there's no entanglement here. It wasn't yours to begin with, that legal fiction name.
So can I ask you a question?
To begin with. So what do you do?
You just did. Ask another one.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to ask.
See, guys, can I jump in? Hang on a sec. I need to jump in here. We got like 6.5 minutes till we roll over. So if anyone wants to get in, we got room for a few more people. 661-467-2401. And you can Skype in using, I think that was just the last number I opened up there. A lot of noise going on. Try that again. 661-467-2401 is the call-in number. We got 6 minutes until rollover. And you can Skype in through BTR Listener 059. Put in your contact search on Skype. Hit search. When it shows up, right-click it, hit call. It'll bring you directly to the table. Once there, hit 1 on your dial pad on the phone or open the dial pad in Skype and hit 1 there. And if you're on the Blog Talk page, there's a Skype button beside the phone number. Click that, follow the bouncing ball. That will get you here. And you got about 5.5 minutes to do that. And just a reminder, everyone, the mics, when I open them, they're open. And anything you say or any noises in the background are getting picked up. And I really do not like to mute microphones. I detest muting microphones. Okay, so just keep that in the back of your mind. All right?
So the beauty for me,
carry on.
Kate, is that, like, when I heard this the first time, you're like, it was that simple to me because I guess I didn't have this attachment or entanglement in my mind. I already knew. And it was just confirmation. I was just like, seriously, that thing wasn't ever mine to begin with? No. And I'm like, fine. So the system actually has no hold on me unless I try and grab it back and say, wait, give it to me even though I know it's yours? Oh, no, thank you. I won't do that. So it's almost like there's no hook. Because it's like, here, take this fraud. And you're like, no, I don't want it. No, you got to take it. It's like, no, that's all right. And that's basically what it is. And so in the mind for me, it's like, yeah, you got it when your parents, your birth certificate and all that. And I'm like, well, just bring it to right now. It's basically that. You want to accept this name or not? Whose name is it? Oh, it's yours, not mine, even though it supposedly has my name on it, but it's your piece of paper and whatever you want to call it. Yes. No, thank you. I don't want anything to do with that. I mean, that's basically it. Knowing that.
So we don't have to take any actions like trying to get rid of the Social Security or birth certificate?
No. Hang on. Okay, now thank you so much for bringing this up because this is exactly what I wanted to jump all over with golf cleats on, okay? Paper, the difference between sending paperwork and sending intent is black and white. When I write a document like Babylon is Fallen, I am not sending it waiting for someone to say, oh, okay, Kate, that's you have permission to do this. I do not send requests. I send contracts. My intent is encased in the words in that document, be it on paper or, as my preference is, pure light energy called email or texting or whatever. Know the difference. I got to tell you, honey, you are so close to getting this. Once you see this, it's as simple as this. Are you blank, blank, blank? The answer is no. Do you need to prove that to anyone? No. So now that you know who you are, everything you are sending out is pure contract. Babylon is Fallen is a contract. And every email inbox, every mailbox, I don't care where it is on this planet, Facebook, text, whatever it is, Vatican.com on Facebook has been sent a few of these contracts. These are contracts because you accepted them because you had an open vessel to accept them, and anything sent is already deemed contract upon sending due to the fact that there is an I'll accept all contracts window open at the other end. When you know what I just said, you will stand finally in your power. You're not sending notices off to say, you already know this Social Insurance, Social Security is all bullshit. You know that anything dealing in the legal is all bullshit. Who the hell do you need to tell?
Right. And that happened in court right before I was learning about this. I went to the court to get my car back, and, the judge says, well, are you so-and-so, asking me my name? And then I said, well, I am that I am. And then I said, I can be, the sole beneficiary and shareholder of that account. And she's like, you have to get out of my courtroom right now. And I'm like, why? I want my car released. And she's like, just get her out now. And I'm like, well, aren't you the trustee? Aren't you supposed to help me? Aren't you here to help me?
See, and that's all court drama. And they play this up to make people think it has merit. It has nothing.
Right. I'm learning this now.
I know. This is why this table exists, so that we can bust all of this shit. Everything legal is everything illusion. Fact. Get over it.
Illusion. Right.
And everything they do in the courtrooms, even the judge bowing to me, that's all drama.
Right. I already know that. I already know that.
You do,
and it's just like people think that I'm like totally going crazy, but I'm just like, it's better for me to separate myself from that, even if I have to be alone, and it doesn't matter, because eventually through this awakening, my energy is being aligned with higher frequencies anyway. So it's just a blessing to me right now. There are people, even though they're miles away, they understand where I'm coming from. So it's just like, sometimes you got to let go of that, lower frequency energy.
There are millions of us. I want you to sit back for a little bit. I want some others from the table to jump in here so that you can get their flow as well. Okay, so who wants to jump in next?
I will for a moment, and then let somebody else speak. Kate, I'm having my own little aha moments. Even here, it's finally come clear for me what we've been meaning by fraud. It's fraud from the get-go. I'm like, end of story. I'm like, really? Just
yeah.
I've read it, I've heard it, I've listened to it, and just today listening to a few other people perspective share it, that even from there it got clearer in me, and that is just beautiful. And that's what it's coming to the table. It's all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I know this. Another perspective comes. I'm like, I see it even clearer. Wow. And that's what's coming for everyone. It's like all of a sudden the shared perspectives come, in your own kind of, maybe what you had doubts or just some things weren't clear, just come clear. And it's like, for me, when you guys said, what's the line? You're the fraud. You're perpetuating fraud.
Perpetrating fraud.
You're perpetrating fraud. And finally I heard that, and I was just like, of course they're perpetrating fraud, because they own it and they're asking you to claim it.
Okay, hey, Randy. This one's for Randy. Send him. There's that little video clip that Steve Travesty did, and I've sent it around. I'll send it around again for everybody. But Steve Travesty, we had a chat the day before he was going to court. He knew who he was, and then that morning beforehand, just as a refresher, and I told him, this is all you need to say, and watch what happens. And I told him this is exactly what I told him to say, and I'm going to give you the district attorney's response. He stood up when the name matter was brought to light, and he said, I am the witness to the name fraud being perpetrated here, and I have the prima facie evidence, holding up the birth certificate, live record, whatever he had, in my hand. Is it now your intent to aid and abet me into committing fraud and enticing me into slavery? To which the district attorney answered, yes. Case closed. Walk away. And by the way, Derwin, if these monkeys do come back, do yourself a favor when they ask for a legal name. When you say no, laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it is comical. I mean, they're trying to kill you, and you're standing right in front of them. It's kind of funny, you know.
Well, you see, that's the thing. They can only work with the dead. The living are spirits, and what is a spirit? Totally invisible to them. You understand the concept of your spiritual invisibility and invincibility now? It's really simple.
It gave me some confidence. It really did. So, just for anybody else that's having any doubts, just stand in your truth. That's all you can do. If you know this stuff,
and put a big fat smile on your face when you're doing it too. No fear. Just put a giggle in the game. Yeah, toss a giggle in. No. You're doing that dead serious fiction thing. Oh man, come on, that is so old. Have a great day. I got a sitcom to go and watch, but this is funnier. Man, seriously. And guys, look at how conditioned we've been to fear these monkeys. Oh, they've got tasers and guns and mace. Oh my, tasers and guns and mace. Oh my God! Give the cowardly lion a bitch slap with a giggle. Grab your Toto back and say fuck off and leave me alone.
If we could just see our true spiritual power, how much power we really have, we wouldn't be afraid.
Show here. Guess what I'm trying to show you? How beautiful and powerful and totally crazy awesome you are. And people are still trying to beat me up for it, even when I call them wankers, just to get their attention. Unbelievable.
But, Kate, how do I prove it to the system?
Oh, man. Mike, you got to do stand-up. You don't got to prove it to anybody. The only one you got to prove it to is you. Are you a legal name, a dead fictional, dead by consent meat stick that they can boss around and control because you consent to be that and they own your soul? Or are you just simply, hi, this is me? Are you so-and-so? No. Have a nice day, but thanks for trying. Door number 3 is over there, dopey. That's funny. Anybody else want to jump in? This is getting comical. This is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Kate, I was wanting to tell you, I had a dream last night, and you were in it. And it was like we were in school. It's like we were in school, and we had to sign our names and social security number, and you were the first one to walk off.
Yeah, I'm playing this game, bitch. I'm gonna hang out with the living kids, not the dead ones. I'm good. But you guys starting to see comedy of this and how absolutely powerful you are. It is really that simple. It is this real, beyond your wildest dreams and imagination. No name, no game. Bye-bye, vampires. Bye-bye, werewolves. And they know this. It is drilled into their robotic little program skulls. No name, no game. And I got to tell you, look at the rigmarole these individuals went through. And I tell you, the only reason they did what I think it was Angela, or whatever you want to reference the me, how to find you. The only reason they did what they did was because you still weren't completely certain with who you were at that time. So there was that doubt and assumption, presumption capable. Now we're playing a different game, because I guarantee after tonight's little talk, you know who you are, and you will never allow an assumption, presumption of a legal name ever again to enslave you and your soul. I think that's pretty fair, and I think that's pretty awesome. And that's why you're here tonight, to get that last piece, because as I was listening, I'm going, oh my God, she is so close, so very close. Let's just bust this all together. Now, memorize this, boys and girls. All things legal are fiction, illusion, bullshit. Anything attached to it is the same. Is there a legal name? Well, that's the same. It's all bullshit. And you're living beautiful. And you don't have to describe anything other than the fact when, like I said, the 3 cops that I ran off with a smile on my face was, what's your name? Well, I'm me. Well,
hello?
What's your address? Oh, I live here. And I pointed at my chest. I live here. Is this your car? Yeah, I have the key. Yeah, hey, who we got? Lotus?
No, that's not me.
Who's me?
It's Leah. I just want to ask you an important question.
Sure. Leah. Sorry, it's Leah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's Leah Love. I'm sorry. What should women do when they're ready to give birth in a hospital and they're asked to give these birth certificates without them trying to take their children away?
Well, that's the problem with hospital wards. They're a prison, right? You agree to their services in a legal sense, then I'm sorry, you're giving it up. But here's the thing: once you start, guys, you see, here's this fucking mountain that keeps getting built out of imaginary molehills. When you know who you are, you won't ask me that question because you'll already know the answer. And you will never contract with anyone or anything. It's like I said before, if you need to pay rent, you know it's all fraud, the name and everything else, but you need a place to be until you figure out the next step. So go and give birth in the hospital and know that they cannot get to your children. It's all fraud. And it's a fraud when you know who you are. It has nothing to do with the child. It has nothing to do with anything registered, because they can only get to all things you have registered through that name if you confess to be that name. That's why when you save yourself, you save all. I didn't do this to save me. My attitude was simply this. If it's going to condemn me, it's going to condemn everyone on this planet. And that's why my passion is where it is, because I know this. For 1 second, do you think I am going to yield and not cover your back? Dream on.
Midwife, anyone?
I was born in a house, no midwife. I popped out of mama just fine. And listen to this ranting bitch tonight. Come on. Let's party,
Kate,
guys.
how you doing?
Good, how are you?
It's Tony. What's going on?
Hey, Tony, how's it going?
Good.
By the way, your friend, if she gets these tickets or whatever, just see if you can sit down and talk to her and maybe fire them back with a Babylon has fallen and I do not wish to commit fraud. Thank you very much, but have a nice day anyway.
Right, and I kind of thought of that. So, and she and I have been friends forever. She knows all there is to know, but she's just not there. She don't want to go there yet. So,
she's scared.
Yeah, she's scared. She would rather pay $600. It's ridiculous, but yeah. So what we're gonna do? I'm gonna run by you and see if we should. So when she called to tell them that she was not driving, they said that she couldn't do that. So I guess what they were doing on the form that came with the ticket, there were several reasons you could check to contest it, and one of them is contest by mail, and you can have a hearing officer call. So I ended up calling and just asked questions, didn't give them my name or anything, told them that I was driving, blah blah blah. And so what we're going to do is she's going to contest it, and when the hearing officer calls her, then she's going to give them my information and to come get me.
Perfect.
Good luck with
that.
that.
Tony.
Good.
Perfect. And boy, you know how to own these people, so stand to post, do not yield. Your destroyer none will pass and destroy this. Watch.
And just to confirm, I've been listening a little bit tonight. I've said in the past, I don't know if you remember my testimony, Kate, but I've said in the past I thought I knew who I was. But I can tell you, when you really know who you are, and you will get these little tests, the shit is funny.
There's Tony. Tony gets the joke. Well done, Tony. Lighten up, everybody. That's what it means to be a lighten up worker. Okay.
Yeah, I was leaving the other morning, 4:45 a.m. I have a client. I'm a personal trainer. I have a client at 5 a.m. and I just shoot out the front of my apartments on my bicycle, go past across the intersection, and I have headphones in, earbuds in. I have about a 30-pound bag of laundry on my handlebars, and I see a big spotlight shining from behind me. And I turn and look, and they pulled on the street that I am, like riding beside me, and shining a spotlight right in my face. And I continue pedal, and I look at that, and I like shrug my shoulders, like what the fuck? And he's just like, where are you going? And I stopped my bike, put down the bag of laundry, pulled my earbuds out. I said, what? He said, where are you going? I said, right there. He said, where's there? I said, I got a client. He was like, I was like, are you going to make me late? I got to be there in 10 minutes. And he's like, no, we just had a call that somebody was riding their bike in the alley. I said, it wasn't me. And I just put my headphones back on, grabbed my laundry, and went and just left.
Perfect answer.
So I mean, it really is funny because, a year, 2 years ago when I did get arrested, I didn't have any kind of license, registration. I was that far. I didn't have a license. I didn't have registration. The car wasn't in my name, but I still went to jail because I gave them my name.
There you go. That's it. Game over. Done. Finished. Oh, it looks like Max Egan is still whining. Oh, well, I'll have to... Oh, such delicate egos out there. Oh, well.
Yeah, just look at what happened to this cat when I started laughing. Get out of here. You're insulting me. I mean, come on. Really? You just... Oh, gosh. Oh!
There you go. I just answered him. Sad, grow up hair. We've had nothing but victories. And that's something else too, guys. For everybody, we have had countless victories shared at this table. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How much did I charge for those?
Nothing.
Any questions?
No.
Tell it to Peter Eugene.
I know, eh? It's like, everything available on my site for free, easy to get to, yeah? You go to CMR and get the downloads easy, Blog Talk, you can get all those for free, no problem?
Yeah. Very simple.
Very simple. It's all yours. And I tell you, you find another radio platform or any platform on this planet right now that has victory after victory after victory, and it didn't cost you anything but standing on your own 2 feet. Go ahead, find me one. You won't.
Hey, Kate, I got an idea. Me and Mark are going to do this. We're going to do a version of I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing, but it's going to be Babylon is Fallen.
I like it.
So this is the harmony we'll be singing.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's totally awesome.
We're going to maybe get kids to do it.
Yeah, and Leah, if you're on Skype, tag me on Skype so we can get you into the groups with literally hundreds upon hundreds of people that can help and share with. Probably someone right close to you as well. Have you got Skype, Leah?
Yes, how can I reach you?
Katie.renee.thompson. I will spell it out for you, as I do every night. Katie.
Okay.
And you can listen back because you want to because you got great radio voice. Anyway, Katie dot RENEE dot THOMPSON. Katie.renee.thompson. Okay, that's a moniker. It's a way to find me. It's a map reference. I'm me because you can hear me, and I don't need anything to tell you who I am. I'm sure that if we met in the street, you'd recognize me by physical, and you'd probably recognize the voice, too. You wouldn't need to ask me for ID because you already know that I am me. No question. It's really easy. So send me a Skype contact so we can get you involved with some people, and I want to thank Clarity for asking me to do that because, me and my normal get the job done mentality overlooks these very, very simple little things. So, but, hon, you're not close anymore. You know who you are now.
I know. I've known this as a child. It's just like you get caught up, by just false perceptions, and it's just like what to believe, and then you just like I'm just gonna go with my own truth because everything's just everyone else's bullshit belief systems that don't apply to me, and it doesn't serve me, and it never has.
No, absolutely, it never will. Bullshit will never serve. And again, you got two choices to make here: stand in truth or deny the truth. You're gonna have a challenge either way, but I assure you, the only thing that's going to keep you untouchable, completely safe, regardless of the circumstance you have to get through in order to get your contrast, your lesson to learn, standing in the truth will always protect you. Standing in a lie, well, that's a different one. And here's another Katie deja vu moment. If you're hearing this and it sounds like deja vu, you fucked up on the last pass. Pay attention this round. Party time. Let's play. Hey. I'm just having fun now.
Okay.
Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead.
It's Lotus.
Lotus, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. I've always had questions, and every time I listen, more and more of my questions are being answered, and today, a lot of questions were answered, and I just feel so good about that because it kind of like takes a lot of the I don't know what you want to call it, but it just clears everything to a point where you really get that understanding, and it's like amazing.
Well, here's another easy way to look at it. If the name that you think is yours appears anywhere on a piece of paper, that's not you.
Right.
Done. So if anything comes up with a piece of paper, a server, bailiff, cop, whatever the case may be, and they're holding a piece of paper, because that's what they're going to be holding, that's not you. I had guys, in my own driveway in my home, these guys knew what they were doing with me. I had a guy that was an assistant coach, piece of shit. We call him Scottish Steve. Backstab. I have to think that his last name is probably Campbell, but anyway, backstabbing piece of shit. I got him on video. I still got to get this thing uploaded. Standing out beside my truck. This guy knows me because I worked with my daughter's soccer team, and he was one of the ass coaches. He was just an ass, actually, but anyway. And he couldn't get joinder with me, knowing full well who I was. Got to get that uploaded and make a fool of that fucking monkey. Again. Oh, and including the 2 cops that served a rock on the front lawn, too. It's a piece of paper, it ain't me. Give it to the rock. Do whatever you think you need to do, but it ain't me. 3 times they tried to serve me, and 3 times they failed. And I'll tell you, if I never went in to stand my ground, the Judge Bows to Sovereign video would never have come out. And the fact that that came out cost me everything to get here now to share with you, to know that you can go to the site, read everything that you need, listen to as many shows as it takes for you to figure out who the fuck you are. And you are not a name on a piece of paper. You are not a name on an ID card. Everything that is in the legal world is all bar society crown. And I don't care what country you think you're in or what jurisdiction that you have been convinced is somehow different than anything else. If it's a court, it is bar registered in the City of London state. All things lead back there for legal nonsense, commerce, whore of Babylon. And, of course, directly connected to the Vatican, yet there's no spiritual error, apostolic letter. All of these allegories that we went over anagogically are not literal. I don't deal in the literal. I try to show you what it means from a spiritual cause position. These are just the effects of our intent. The apostolic letter came out from Pimp Frankie because he couldn't do anything but put it out. That's our cause. And I know I've made the Vatican shift a few times with emails. Literally. That's my experience, and I'm no one more surprised than, well, I was never surprised when I send stuff out, because I know the power of intent. And I'll tell you right now, the only thing that's happening is you, me, and everybody else that's at this table becoming fully self-aware and who we truly are just getting more and more and more powerful by the day. And the more responsibility we can take upon ourselves only adds to that causal reality, shift-changing power. Only with responsibility and wisdom will you get the power to do what you need to do. Remember that. You are not going to get handed a tool you cannot wield. This is why I tell people, take the baby steps. Learn deeply the wisdom. Know the knowledge. And like Derwin showed tonight and so many others have showed in the past, when you stand in that truth, the werewolves and the vampires cannot come near you. And nothing will get past you until you agree with assumption or presumption to be that name that is on a piece of paper. That is the paper sea. Don't drown in it. All things paper or all things illusion or all things bullshit or all things legal. It has nothing to do with you unless you consent that it should. And you'd be a fucking moron if you did. Knowing what you know now. Any questions? Is that clear?
I am causal. Yep. Crystal clear. I am causal living spirit. No physical decedent lost at sea in the effects.
No paper seat for me, baby.
Nope.
I deal in real water, real truth. I don't play in the fiction land. I'll leave that for the wizards of their Oz, right?
And leave the trees alone.
Thank you. And as a quick reference, I did watch Don Quixote today. Very interesting movie. I was looking for something new in it. It just confirmed everything I already knew. So that was. I love it when a movie is boring on the truth level. It's actually very good for people that really want to get an idea of their experience of what they've been through, because you can map yourself and to what level you're awake by watching this. It is quite brilliant. I will say that. And on that, it will get the Katie stamp of approval for anyone that wants to see that. But watch it anagogically as you are the main character in this movie. And you are. You're the main character in all the movies. You're the superstar of your show. Start acting like it. It's way more fun.
I already live that way. I just have a couple of questions, and you already clarified that. So I thank you so much.
Oh, the pleasure's ours, hon. This is your table. This is your table. Welcome home.
People tell me you act like you don't care about anything, and I'm like, why should I worry? I'm infinite consciousness. I'm eternal energy. Like, why should I care?
Exactly. Universe has you. Mama has you in her arms. The minute you say, Mama, hold me, Mama holds you. But you got to stand straight. Mama don't like a liar. That's the dead hole, though.
I've always felt some sort of resistance to being around people that lie, and I just knew it just wasn't, my type of thing.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I talked about this a couple of weeks back, I think, regarding a hockey game where the goaltender knew it was the goal, the defenseman and the guy that scored it knew it was a goal, but it was being contested, and they had to go to video to see if it was a goal or not. And the truth of the matter is, that just tells me that the goalie is a liar, the defenseman is a liar, and the guy that scored the goal got ripped off because two people couldn't stand up and say, yeah, it's a goal, let's play fair, shall we? And what are they teaching the people watching these sports and the kids watching these sports? They're telling them that it's okay to lie as long as you can get away with it.
They say, hey, so your energy, who cares about integrity anymore?
Exactly. What can I get? Gimme, gimme, gimme. As long as I win, that's competition, that's program, that is pure system. And look at the subtlety of what I just shared there. The truth of the matter is, by the actions, it is already known. It was a goal. I saw it. It was a goal. I don't need a replay. And the fact that they did the replay showed it over and over. The simple truth is, that goalie should have had the integrity and the balls to stand up and say, yeah, it was a goal. Fair enough. That's what playing a game is. Playing it fairly. No one needs to win or lose here. It's just a game.
They're not doing it to play as cooperative components. Everything's competition to them. This is why, they're just stuck in the illusion.
Well, yeah, and this whole society has been taught to lie. We lie to our kids about Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, and all the rest of it. And then, of course, like in the sports arenas, just because a Stanley Cup is more important than your integrity, you just sold out your integrity for a fucking cup. The piston cup, you might as well call it, because you just pissed in your own universe.
Yeah.
And guys, I would love to be able to apologize for my bluntness, but I have to be purely honest here and say, if it takes bluntness to drive this truth home, I don't care what it takes, nor do I care what people think of me, like me, hate me. I don't give a shit, but I'll tell you this. Guaranteed, if there's a truth and I'm standing on it, good luck trying to fucking move me. Because you won't.
I mean, that's how everybody should be, but unfortunately, it's just not that way. But I feel the same way.
Good. Then you know who you are.
I think the more, we wake up and, there's more of us anyway. So, your light shines my light shines someone else's light, and it's just a process. But it's happening.
Totally it is. Totally it is. And tell you what, guys, if you're on the board, don't be texting me. Just tell me you want your mic open and ask the questions yourself. I'm not your fucking slave. I love you, but ask the questions yourself. Right, Mark? Come on. Great comment, my friend. Ask yourself, you lazy bastard. I'm not your servant. I do enough serving, thank you very much.
I love you.
I love you, man. I love picking on you, too, because you rock. You can handle it. You've actually got a pair, and you're not worried about them getting kicked on occasion.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kate.
No worries, my friend.
No, that was just talking to Mike actually about the Babylon has fallen, and maybe if anyone wanted to get involved, if they wanted to ring me, we could get everybody reading a line.
Oh, that's a great idea. See, that's why I wanted you to share it, because that's your creation. That would be a great idea if those Oh, that would be just awesome. Just contact Mark on Skype and read a line or two from Babylon Has Fallen, and he can edit it all together so that everyone has their say, and we're sending it out as a collective Babylon Has Fallen instead of this ranty bitch always doing the mouthpiece. And that would be nice for a change. I need to hear you guys. I already know.
What is Mark?
Great idea.
Well, just contact me on Skype, and Mark's already in the rooms. I can connect everybody with everybody. That's what I do. I'm the son and daughter. I connect shit. I cherry pick, connect the dots. And that's my role. That's all I do. And then I go, here, look at all these dots that were connected, and go play. And look, you get to keep your house. Oh, your kids and everything. Oh, my God. Yeah, they can't get to you. They can't get to anything that the legal name is attached to until they get you to be the legal name so they can come and board your ship and rape your ass. Not a good idea. Keep that to yourself, Unbelievable. I love this game because it's getting fun. Tony nailed it. When you get the cosmic joke, you start shaking your head wondering, why aren't people getting this joke yet? This is like crazy. It's nuts. And it's so simple. Oh, my God, the power you guys wield, and you're just sitting there. I got to tell you, you got this Ferrari 308 GTS fully loaded sitting in your driveway, and you're walking right past it to go and get on the fucking tricycle with a little bell because it's more fun and cuter, and you like driving on your tricycle 20 miles to the slave job. That's really what I see. When people don't know, I'm trying to put you in the Ferrari. You all got one. When you get in the Ferrari, do yourself a favor. When you're backing out, run over the tricycle. Make sure there's no children on it, though, please. We love our children. That's why we're doing this. Fair enough? Or donate it to a child. Who cares? At least you've grown up. You can drive the Ferrari. Give your tricycle to another grown-up child. Let them ride that. I had no idea what I was going to talk about tonight, really, and then, of course, except for Randy and the stuff that he brought to light. What a perfect evening, guys. I'll tell you, if you listen to this show and you still can't figure out who you are, I don't know what to tell you.
Could I ask you a question?
You just did. Ask another one.
Yeah. Okay. When we come to borders, how can we use this for crossing borders?
Well, here, I haven't tried it myself. Why don't you go give it a shot? Take all your ID out and see what happens. But if you know who you are, I'll get around to it eventually. I got a buddy that loves to do this sort of stuff, and I was thinking we'd go and tag team these wankers and have some fun. But here's the answer I'm going to give everybody. I've already solved a few of these things, these dilemmas, to expose the name fraud. How about somebody else fucking do it and call in and tell me what it's like instead of me doing all the fucking work? How's that for an answer? I love you. I'm such a bitch. I really am.
What borders?
Right, exactly.
There are no borders.
That's Lori Blastoff, by the way. Pay attention. She knows.
That's it.
That Houston has a negative on the trajectory, okay? So it's all good.
That's more fiction. Bullshit.
Right?
Mind program. That's it. Quit running their programs.
Go and play. Don't wait for me to give you everything. Wait a minute. I gave up my family, my home, my cars, trucks, my whole life exactly. Is there anything else that I can do for you? That's my challenge to the planet.
I think you've done enough, Katie, and thank you. Espavo, thank you for taking your power, my love.
Perfect. Love it. You are God. Start acting like it, and that's all. Get in your 308 GTS, man. It's beautiful, bright red. It's fully convertible. The top's down, and you are on the Autobahn running out at 250 miles an hour, and you're just got a smile on your face that big, and that's what happens when you get here. 7 nights a week, I think I'm doing enough. Running off cops live on the air, I think that's pretty good. Making a judge battle, that's pretty good. Exposing the British High Consulate name fraud by going to get a passport with no ID to go and take my dad's ashes home. Yeah, it only cost me my dad for that truth. Any other things that I need to sacrifice? You're not sacrificing. And I do thank you for bringing that point up, because I really, I've been wanting to say that for a while. Stop asking me the fucking questions and start answering them yourselves, guys. I've answered everything that everyone needs to know who they are. From there is nothing I can do for you. You are here to save yourself. You want to continue with the diapers, waiting for someone to do it for you, then stay in the fucking system, because that's where you need to be. Freedom...
Command yourself.
Oh, exactly. Freedom isn't free, as they say. What was the movie? Team America. Freedom isn't free. It costs $1.05. Go spend your $1.05. I already spent mine. I'm having fun tonight, guys, so don't ever take... Well, if you take anything personally, I can't help you there either. Just let's have some fun here. I'm just going to spell it out as it is, and these are the tough things.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Is that Mags or...
Yeah, that's me. My cat ate my headset, so I'm using my the video thing.
Yeah, the laptop, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, I just wanted to say, Randy, congratulations, man.
Woohoo!
Awesome.
Yeah, great job. Derwin, great job. Everybody, look at the change you guys have made. I'm telling you right now, if people listen to this episode tonight, our table talk tonight, so 2 hours and 35 minutes so far, and if they still can't figure out who they are, there is nothing I can do beyond this. It is done. My hands are washed.
I just wanted to say it.
I love it. Somebody's chomping on something. Ooh, that. I get. It's funny. I just say that, they go, "Oh, that's me." Shit, I love it. Oh, let's laugh, guys. Please, let's laugh.
They're still doing it, Kate.
That's because the God doesn't care, and the God's going to munch away, and I'm all for that. Thank you. Now we got a few people that haven't chimed in here. Borean hasn't. Steve hasn't. I'm not sure which numbers have jumped in yet or not, but whoever hasn't jumped in yet, get in here. We only got 25 minutes left tonight, and I want to get everyone on the board because you all matter that much.
Randy, fucking awesome job, dude. Yeah, it's boring here. Dude, when you started explaining of how that lawyer got offended by your laugh, and and they're the one that's offended by you saying in truth, that just goes to show you, bro. Right on, dude. That's all I have to say. Right on, Randy. Good job, man.
Thank you all. You were all there.
I just want to thank everybody. My new name is Liberty on Vibrant Earth, but I'm allegedly known as Elizabeth. And I love you, Kate. I love everybody at this table, and I'm so, so grateful for a deeper understanding that I got today. And every time I hear you, now I'm starting to feel your energies around me. It is so, so sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, my love. Thank you.
I'm just very grateful. I don't have much to say except, yay, I'm so glad we're gathering.
Oh, the numbers are gathering incredibly right now. Like I said, we have had nothing but victory. And if something wasn't quite perfect, we found how to make it so. So everything that you are all doing is making a huge impact for everyone. This is how important you are. I cannot stress this enough. This is not the Kate show. It's the Kati of all show.
It is. I can see it. I can feel it, and I can feel it at the table. I can hear it on the phone, and I'm just so grateful. So, so grateful.
Mirror, mirror. Mirror, mirror.
So thank you. I'll just step back again, but I wanted to say that. Thank you.
Much love, and I tell you, this is all I care to hear. That people are getting who they are, that they're seeing that they're not caught in this matrix. Every one of you that steps out of the matrix is a victory for all of humanity. This is not about you, because when you save yourself, everyone and everything that you love connected to you comes with you.
Liberty on Vibrant Earth. Love.
Love that. That's beautiful.
Yes,
nice vibe.
Thank you. I was inspired by your name.
Well, there you go. See, we inspire each other. So guess what? We get to be a co-experience and co-create each other. I think you're pretty awesome. I love our image of ourselves at this table. Hey, guys, you created this monster, not me. I'm just kind of reacting to the experience of it all, and it's really cool.
Oh, you're the head bitch.
Oh, I know. Hey, well, you know. Actually, speaking of which, I give the system, ask the system, I give awesome head ache. That's what I'm here to do. That's an old one. I used that years ago. Still that funny on occasion, I guess. Yeah, you guys know that. I've used that before. I give awesome headache. Come on, guys. We got about 20 minutes. Steve, that was you jumping in. So let's hear from our Wonder Man, Steve.
Yeah, I wonder about myself sometimes too. But I've just been listening and really enjoying all of you and the energies. And hats off to Randy, my friend. As I tagged you last night, I knew I was going to be busy today, but I was there with you completely. I guess from all that I've heard and learning and seeing and the things that, you know, Kate, you talked about tonight, especially on the baby steps, if you want to call them that, this is not about, for those of you who do not have it quite figured out yet, this is not about quitting your job, not being in business anymore, not creating things, not making a life. We don't know what this is going to eventually wind up being or not being, but we're going to create it as we go. But as you understand that the system has tied everything into knots, and as we cut those knots free, a lot of people, it seems to me, think that, oh my gosh, I can't do this because if I pull away from the system, then there's no support there anymore. Well, there wasn't any to start with. You support yourself on your own two fucking legs. And so if you start to pull back, like Kate says, just a little bit at a time, then you find that your legs get steadier and steadier as you get off the fucking water and you get back on the land and you start walking upright again. Then your strength comes back to you. And it'll just increase the way it does. So don't worry about anything. Just learn and go. Get your land legs back.
I think that's some of the best possible advice anyone could give, Steve. You to draw Picasso, you just don't perform and do it. It takes time, skills, tools, knowledge.
Well, you're right, Mark, because the thing is the knowledge and the skills have to be something that you learn of your own. Otherwise, you're just looking into another bag of tricks like we've all been looking to so far. So let's get rid of the tricks and get off the water and walk upon dry ground again. You know, we came out of the ocean once before, stood up and walked, and we just got to do it again. But it's one step at a time, and it's no big deal. We're all in the same path, and we're all here supporting each other. So, you know, I am the least of all of us. That is for sure. I have many steps to take yet.
Don't we all? You know, don't we all? And that's it. For me, the key to the game was, you know, taking the steps that I could handle. I tell you, I took a lot of steps that I obviously had to handle, which you know, wasn't quite ready to take it on to the level that we can share now. And Mags and I talked about this the other day on the air with regards to what it cost us personally, and we were so close in both cases of unveiling this completely, but it had to get back right down to the spiritual contract nature. That which you agree with in your mind, you're in contract with the universe. Every thought is a contract. So be careful what you're contracting with. That's the only point I've been trying to make. And this for me has been the make and break of this whole system. We broke it. It's done. And we know how to do it now. And the only thing I'm interested in is getting this out to as many people as possible. And I don't care who I have to piss off, who I have to rile to get the attention, positive or negative, I don't care. Whatever brings them to this table or brings them to the website to see what this mouthy tranny bitch is all about and why she's such an asshole, because I don't care. What I do care about is you, if you want to move on and reclaim your own soul, well, that would be a wish that I'd have for you. And that's all I'm doing. And like I said, I don't care. I don't need to be loved, and I don't need to be hated. It don't matter to me. Whatever it takes to get the truth through, there's no emotions here. It's just pure get it done.
Put one foot in front of the other.
Bingo. If you can't take the big steps, well, just kind of slide your feet along. Remember, just like a baby, they don't learn to walk until they've crawled for a little bit. So crawl if you have to. I don't care. You know, and get your strength up. And then eventually, if you can stand and you can hold on to the couch and walk yourself along the couch, great. And then you'll take the first few steps yourself, and you'll be so proud of yourself. And everybody will be going, yay! And the next thing you know is you got this kid running around, and you can't catch anymore. And that's who we become.
So true. When I joined this table, July 1st of last year, I was crawling. I mean, I had spent, 4.5 years learning legal babble, legal jargon, junk, that now it means nothing.
I know, eh?
And then to send our documents to attorneys, to states, to corporations. Let's not lie, attorneys, states. Fuck them. They're corporations. That's what I did. Send them to them, telling cops, having sheriffs and cops come into where I work constantly, to catching someone by the throat who was robbing us and then calling 8 or 9 cops showing up, putting them on notice and into my jurisdiction, and then to speaking to a sergeant and not putting him on notice, but discussing with him the name and legal versus lawful, et cetera, and then putting U.S. Marshals on notice. And then today, it does not happen in one moment, in one flash. It doesn't. Take your time, be comfortable with you, be you, stand in the truth, trust. Yesterday, I was not where I am today.
Well put, Randy. And I would say in my own experiences that when I have ever, and excuse my words because I don't pick and choose them anymore, but whenever I've addressed a situation, I've generally found out that I was teaching myself something else. I wasn't teaching the other person. I was learning my own experience.
Here. I taught myself that I knew far more than I was giving myself credit for. That we knew more, rather. That we knew more. And that there was no need for me to be concerned about anyone, including my brother, my physical blood brother. We have no spiritual contract. We have an agreement. I don't owe him a fingernail. He doesn't owe me a hair. Nothing.
It seems that life is always an inward experience with me, anyway. It's never an outward experience. It's always an inward experience.
That is profound. And simple, right?
Where your answers are.
Isn't it the devil's in the details? Well, if it's difficult, then that's got to be devilish, right? If it's simple, well, that's got to be spirit. So right on, Steve.
That's it in a nutshell, guys.
And Liberty is now in the lighthouse. Sorry, I was a little distracted there, accepting the contact. And let's just say between sending the contact request and getting in the room took about 3.4 seconds. That's how quick we work around this place. Thank you. So, Liberty, you are in the lighthouse with we got two main rooms, and you're in one of them, and it's okay. We have most of the same players in both rooms, the ones that have been around the longest and what have you. And it's looking like we're going to have to open the third room very shortly because they're getting full, really, really full. So that's why I had to set up the second one. And the second one's almost full now too.
Well, that's what came up when I went in with Katie Renee Thompson.
Yeah. Neato. You got the Kate of Gaia is Cygnus Trumpset. Yeah, I had Cygnus Trumpset, but there was a lot of confusion as to, is that Kate? Is that, well, yeah, for those that listen knew that's who it was. So okay, Kate of Gaia is Cygnus Trumpset. So you know who I am. And, another little note regarding Skype. I'm always on Do Not Disturb because my Skype is on all day. And if I had it on online, one, I'd get hammered 10 times as much as I do. And the beeps drive me nuts. And when you put on Do Not Disturb, the beeps don't happen and the phone isn't ringing. So that's why I tell people text ahead to make sure that I'm at the computer before you try calling me. Otherwise, you may not get the phone answered. And I love it. I get these phone calls from people. I had another one today. Whoa, is that you, Kate? Yeah. Whoa, I don't believe you picked up the phone. That's why I have one. Do you see this? This is, and when you see it in the grand scheme, when I say call me or Skype me or whatever, I will answer you. Promise. And if I don't, it's because I missed the call. It's because I wasn't actually at my cell or at my computer. So, and then if I miss it, I typically call back anyway. And that usually freaks people out more than them calling me. So, well, you called. You must have something to talk about. Universe has it set up perfectly, guys. I'm never overwhelmed. I'll tell you, when I was dealing with the freemen and sovereigns and stuff, boy, the gimmies come out of the woodwork. I was getting about 80 emails a day with people looking for this legal remedy and that legal remedy, and it's funny because this was a spiritual intent. I literally said, I was in my office and I said, okay, universe, let's just sort this out. Only those that are ready to accept the truth and stand and not be a gimme looking for all of their freebies like the freemen on the land. I only want them, those that are ready to come into my reality. And I'll tell you, the next day, it was down to one email, 2 emails, and that was it. And it stayed that way until people really started catching on. I haven't checked my email yet today, but it's always usually pretty... I wouldn't say it's very, very busy, but I prefer Skype direct because it's real time. And if you want to connect with me direct in real time, Skype or text me on my cell or call. I only have limited minutes on the phone, but unlimited texting. And by all means, please. I'm here to help connect people up. That's what I do. And I'm pretty good at it.
I have a little tidbit. To throw in here at the end unless we got other people want to come in and say something.
Yeah, we only got about 7 minutes left. Yeah, so go ahead, Steve.
Okay, I'll try to do about 2 or 3 minutes maybe here. Just to go back on what you were talking about earlier in the show about the transhumanism aspect that's going on. They ain't got a fucking clue. And I'll give you an example that I came up with. I work on a ranch over here, and we just got done working an AI program on the herd yesterday, which is artificial insemination. And that's where you can buy a semen straw from a bull that say is worth $500,000 that you can never afford, of course, but you can buy a straw of semen and you can impregnate your cow with it so you get all the great traits and all that. But anyway, and I don't care what anybody thinks about this, and I'm not going into this on a moral issue or anything else, but we've been doing this for quite a few years, and one thing that's come up in the brochures, the catalogs that come in here recently is they are now cloning these bulls that are worth all this money with all these great traits, and because they can do all this now, all this cloning. They've been doing it for years. But the wonderful thing is when you look at the catalog, here you have the original sire, this bull, and just to give you, they have ratings on the bulls. I'm just going to do this real quick. For instance, let's say a bull gives the traits of good milk to the heifers that he produces. They keep track of all this. And let's say the average for the Angus herd is 15. And this bull's got a 23. So, okay, it's really great because you know that if you get a heifer from him, it's going to give great milk. So, here's the thing. They clone this bull so they can try to make more money off of it. And this clone is supposed to be exactly the same, exact copy of this sire, has a milk number of 7. And I was talking to this guy that owns these cows, and he goes, "Steve, I don't understand this. If this is a clone, if this is an exact copy, it should have the same numbers across the board. And all the numbers are flat. All the maternity's flat, the milk's flat, everything's flat. So you cannot put life into a recreation or to a replication. So, anybody that's out there that's worried about any of this crap that's going on, don't worry about it because they do not have the AllSpark to work with. Just a thought.
Oh, absolutely agreed. And as a side note, I'm hopefully going to be talking to Max Egan tonight, and hopefully, as he wanted to have a chat, and do you want me to call in? We can hash it on the air. So, actually, not tonight because there's only a few minutes left. So I'll tell you what. I'd rather make sure that you get lots of time to talk, and of course the table, and you can all come in and explain exactly why the goats need to be got because of these uber high-profile, beautiful people that just need the last little key to hand out. And then you can keep your license. It's all good if you must, but when you really get it, you don't need any of that shit. You really don't. Not you really don't. You don't. You don't, because it's all fiction. Go ahead, tape a driver's license to the steering wheel and see how far you get without touching anything.
Oh, hey, guess what? Babylon is fallen. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
Babylon is falling.
Babylon is falling.
I will step with that Moat.io infinitely yours. I'll make that infinitely mine as well. That's a good dance. I'll tango with you.
Well, I'm going to head out, and I just want to say thank you all for all of the love and support and energy that you've sent my way, and it's been a very big blessing on my life, and I give back to you what you give to me. So, good night all, and I love you very much.
Much love, and yeah, we're going to get a minute or so left. So how about you guys? If there's anything else you want to ask real quick, go ahead. If not, we'll just roll out of here. So table's yours.
Gratitude and props to everyone at the table. Thank you.
Thank
Mirror,
you.
mirror.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love you all so much.
Thank you.
Tonight's
show
is called The Facts Speak for Themselves.
Yeah, the facts speak for themselves. What's that?
Hello. Oh,
yeah,
I just wanted to say there is no greater connection than, these souls who come in spiritual alignment, the ones who are consciously aware of who they are, and, their own personal relationships with the divine presence of the God within. And I think it's absolutely amazing that we were able to connect tonight and, just absorb all of this truth and, just be at peace with it. So I just want to thank everybody and generate positive love and energy to you all.
And right back at you. I'm going to be checking for X-flares tonight.
Excellent. I love you.
Hey, it's your son. Affect it. That's what we do. Anyway, much love to everybody, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night. And hopefully, if I can get Max into the headspace that of the intent of what we're trying to do here to get people's attention, get goats, and get people awake, and on the hey, you want to be free from your soul trap. That's why I might get a little bit passionate about it. And if we can, then he'll be at the table tomorrow night. I'm hoping anyway, because he's a brilliant man. He's done a lot of great work, and I have nothing but respect for him. And if I'm calling you something other than what you like to hear, it's because, well, you need to take it up a notch, because you're way better than that. And that's it. I'm in a roundabout way. It's a compliment. It's crazy, eh?
Max will be there.
And Max is a good man. He's got a great.
Oh, he's a great man. He's a great man. I mean, I haven't seen eye to eye with him, but that was only because of the legal stuff that he was stuck in for a while. And the game is so simple. I can't deal with Babylonian legal. I just can't. It's yuck and it's shit energy. But you can't pronounce it. Go ahead. I'm just trying to give you concepts of getting out of this physical reality and start to see things from a more spiritual perspective, an outside the box look at it. So Mom and Dad were the ones that created the intellectual property. It's not yours, never was, never will be. The only thing you can do is accept the contract. Or not. That's not to say it's a permanent contract. Nothing ever is. Because anything created in fraud with an intent to deceive is null and void with that intent to deceive. So what happens then? Mom and Dad register the child unwittingly, put their seal of approval, their complete seal called DNA. It's a race seal. Seal. If you look up seal is the highest covenant, and it's proven out in the phonics. Say all. Right? Say, himself, herself, itself, all of creation, all. So that's your spiritual contract. Anytime you seal something, that's why they do everything with seals. But the seal that goes on the registration book is not one that you can visibly see. But I assure you, if you touched it, you left something behind. Raised on the paper. It's a raised seal, which stands above the paper, or the page, whatever the case may be. And every piece of ID that was ever created from that birth certificate was actually fraud. And we did it to ourselves. The difference is now we know this. And the only thing you need to do to break that contract is, one, know that it was fraud. As I just explained, it's very clear, it's very simple. Does a registration building exist? Does a legal name make a slave and give up your soul? Yes. Okay, there it is. Very simple. Get the concept and go ask yourself the question, am I a legal name? And the answer is going to be very simply no. Because anyone that is even remotely awake would probably say no to being a slave and having their soul surrendered and drawn upon by lifeless entities that need that to suck the life out of you in order for them to exist. That's why anyone that is supporting the system is supporting their own destruction. Now, I can feel the molehills getting built into mountains here. But, Kate, what do we... Shut up. Just breathe. Get that one first. Know the difference. Is the name yours? Of course it is. The trick here is, can it be assumed and presumed to be a legal name by and of your actions? That's where it gets a bit tricky. Now, to family members and friends and people that you know are not out to cut your throat and steal your stuff, unless, of course, you've got greedy children that are likely to tell bullshit stories to have you put into a mental hospital because of an inheritance. I'll get into that later. I'm going to do a little shout out for Meg Louise. That's exactly what her children have done. And I'm looking to get a hold of her tomorrow, getting some contact information. You've probably seen Meg on my Facebook page. That's the psychopathy of this place, where the sheer greed and the indoctrination of the program literally has her children harming her to get some bits of money. Like I said, trust no one. Because you don't know who's around you. Dark principality aspect will invade all levels of consciousness. Friends, family, workplace, whatever the case may be. And that's not to make anyone paranoid. That's just to make you aware. And you can feel your way through this. It's very easy. You'll know. No interviews or interrogation required. You just get a feeling and trust it. Go, have a second look at it. But let's get back to the name part. Now, once you realize this, there is no panic, no rush to do things. With me, it was different because I was going through...
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, coming at you in the live form here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. And of course, the show is commonly, or the table is the Emerald Table, commonly referred to as Outside the Box as well. Given the fact that there isn't a box, it's a construct that you put around you. Well, you got to be literal about some things in order to get stuff through. Now, one of the things that I come across constantly, and obviously I'm failing miserably at really getting this simplified to a point where it can be accepted very easily. We're not talking about rocket science here. And in that regard, I'm going to talk about the name and the perspectives. And the first thing that always happens with people, as soon as and it happened with me too, so don't think that you're alone in this. This is why I can speak from this, because I'm speaking from my own personal experience and the literal left brain mayhem that ensues once you understand the ramifications of the legal name and what it involves. It's been a very long walk to get to this point, and it has, in spiritual, emotional, physical, material terms, it is a very hefty price. And I just hate to see that go to waste, right? Basically, in an allegorical sense, the truth is paid for. That's why no one can ever sell truth, because it's already paid for. It belongs to everybody. And some of us go through different prices to pay for it, and that's fine. It just depends on the model and make of you and what your role is here to play, and whether you can accept the responsibility of that role. That's not my call. I made my choices. And looking back in the contrast of them now, they were perfect. Because in order to be able to share what I'm able to share, I would have, if I had not experienced any single thing, good or bad, depending on your perspective, I would not be able to sit here and share this on a worldwide scale. Now, would I? So go ahead, tell me that everything that happened to me was bad. And I can tell you in the mirror that everything was good in order to get to this understanding. It only gets better from here. So let me really try to simplify this, and hopefully I don't fail again miserably tonight. I take the responsibility of trying to clarify this. And for those that understand what it is I'm going to be sharing already and have had their click aha moments, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And it's not an easy thing to explain to people. And it's basically because of the programs that we have all been indoctrinated with. And how to get this really through to people. The simple question to ask yourself is this. If you still don't carry ID of any kind whatsoever, just grab a handful of these things and throw them on the table in front of you, or desk, or whatever the case may be. And when you throw these things out in front of you, start talking to them and ask them if that's you. If any of these little bits of paper, plastic, whatever answer you, I'm sure there's a 1-800 number somewhere for a psycho ward somewhere. Okay? Separate yourself from the concepts. of what's been indoctrinated into you. And while many people get the idea that I'm not the legal name, okay, sit around and pause and think about that for a few minutes. Maybe a few days would be a better idea. Maybe quiet the left brain down enough instead of, as I posted in the Skype room, instead of building real mountains out of imaginary molehills. And the molehills are the what ifs and what do I do and stop. When I hear all of these things, and I get it all the time, and I fully understand where it comes from. I get it. As soon as it's like you realize that, well, okay, the legal name is the trap of traps here. And it's a soul trap, and I'll be working on an essay called The Body Snatchers in terms of how the contract, I'll do my best to explain it as concise yet as widespread as possible to make sure that I get the full picture through. Again, writing essays is something completely contrary to my normal way of being in terms of writing songs, where I write a handful of words to convey huge pictures. It's a lot different here, so it's actually reversed. I'm trying to paint small concepts with very large amounts of words. Simplicity is the most difficult thing to explain. Of course it is. It's a singularity. That which you think is simple is actually very complicated, and why many of us experience the, how the hell do I say this? How the hell do I share this with anybody? But it really is so blindingly simple, and that's not to make less of an intellect. It's actually, that intellect is the problem. Intellect will get in the way of the simplicities of truth. If you want proof of this, simply ask a child. Because they haven't got all the hang-ups and the what-ifs, and they don't worry about the imaginary molehills, the what-ifs that turn into real mountains of panic and stress and, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? That psychobabble that goes on in all of our minds, when we finally get this realization, is the same as, a bunch of kids in the back of the car screaming, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And the car hasn't even left the driveway. It is really that literal. Think of the destination, right? Okay, well, we know the legal name and all of its poison, probably the best word, is pure fraud. Here's a couple of simple questions you might want to ask yourself. Did my mom and dad deliberately, with intent, go out of their way to make sure that my soul and body was enslaved into a slavery matrix called the Crown Corporation, Vatican, whatever, system? I would like to think that the answer was no, unless, of course, you're probably from an Illuminati family or whatever the case may be, at which point it's all about the soul selling to make sure that they have dark entities here to stay here. It's a really simple answer. No, they didn't. They didn't do that deliberately. The mere fact that a registration office exists on this planet is all the prima facie evidence one needs to prove the intent of a system to aid and abet and deceive moms and dads around the planet into registering their child without telling them that, oh, by the way, when you put your seal on this registration book, the Book of the Dead that's in the registration office that you will never see the original copy of, and you won't see it because wherever mom and dad wrote on that registration book, they left behind forensic evidence of a seal called DNA. And don't get physical and literal on this shit. I'm trying to show you the concepts. It's a real Midas touch seal. It is a physical effect of a spiritual intent. And all they got to do is get you to touch it with intent, either ignorant or otherwise, doesn't matter. Ignorance of the law is not a defense of or from it. And what we're doing at this table every night is removing that ignorance. Give me a minute to start the car, and then I might pull it out of the driveway tonight. No, we're not there yet. Breathe. Sit quietly and breathe. So if that's the case, if Mom and Dad didn't have the intent to sell you and your soul into slavery, there wasn't, because slavery of soul and body exists here, there was an intent somewhere. And I've already shown you the prima facie evidence of that. So let that sink in for a sec. My own personal truth commitment. And that's not to say that yours isn't the same. Let's just take it at baby steps here, because I know me, I know my experience, and I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I'm built to do. And I say this most humbly, there have been very few people that I know that are built to do what I've been able to do. They weren't meant to. That's my role. It's my game. Get original. Play your own. You've got a critical piece to play, just as critical as mine. So what do you do about this and what do you do about that? Well, let's just get the name thing first. If a friend came up to you and said, hey, how's it going, blah, 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 you'll say, hey, pretty good. Now a cop comes up to you and says, hey, what's your name? Now we're in a different scenario. Because all these guys are looking for is to be able to assume or presume that you're the legal name. See the difference? Of course the name's yours. It always was. It was hijacked, shanghaied. Your ship was salvaged out of your mother's womb through the gift trick. And while they might have owned the body in terms of the given name and all the rest of it while it's in the womb, they don't anyway. But in ignorance, if we go along with it, well, we're in an ignorant contract to say, yeah, it's okay, you can salvage my child's body, and I'll just make damn sure you get the spirit too as soon as it pops out. Here's the bottom line, and I've said this countless times, and I really hope that I can get this to sink in. Baby steps. You've come to realize that you're not the legal name. You've come to realize that any assumption and presumption of that legal name allows the werewolves and vampires to feed on you easily. It's a spiritual contract. But here's where you just need to change your mind. You cannot serve two masters. You have your name, your path, your way that was intended for you to be yours, where the registration into a legal name was pure and utter theft through deception, non-disclosure. That's why the whole system and this whole planet is corrupt. It's all based in fraud and lies. The whole system is based on that. The money is based on these soul contracts called birth certificates. And I don't want to get into it with anyone that wants to talk bonds, this, and the rest of this shit. Get your head out of your proverbial asses here, please. Get out of the literal. You'll never see this until you do. If you think signing a piece of paper is a contract, then you're an idiot. The contract is signed and sealed in your head. So if somebody hands you a piece of paper that says sign here, just because you want to end a cycle or something, and you know that in your own mind and heart that that's not you, and you know the legal name is fraud, and you can decide in your mind that there's no contract and reverse it. I know this thing that they're putting in front of me is pure fraud, and I'm not going to give it any energy with my ignorant intention of just signing it willy-nilly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plant a Trojan horse on this. This little document that is fraud that is being put in front of me, I'm going to sign it as a witness to the spiritual fraud that it is. They can assume and presume whatever they want in their ignorance, but I'll tell you, I know what it is. It's pure poison to the system. I decide what my signature is, what contract is. Contracts, all of them, are created in the mind and heart. Before you even think of picking up a pen, if you agree to do something, then you agree in contract. If you agree to not do something, then you agree in contract to not do that. While it is blindingly simple, it's very difficult to see the simplicity of this. Because we've been taught for so long to look outside of ourselves for not only permission. How do I put this? Excuse me. Mom and Dad were deceived out of it. The name, whether Mom and Dad came up with it or passed down name from another relative, it's irrelevant. The choice and the decision is made, and the contract is signed, sealed, and delivered in the minds and hearts. It's not a piece of paper, so please lose that illusion, lest you stay in the free man on the land psychotic mentality of thinking a piece of paper is going to save you because you send it to this government office or that. It's got nothing to do with that. Oh, by all means, send information out, but understand what it is you're doing and the true spiritual nature behind what you're doing. It's not the piece of paper that's doing anything, it's your intent. That's why people that have tried using my paperwork or documents or whatever, why does it work for most people and not for others? Well, the ones it doesn't work for are the ones too lazy to actually take the time to absorb it. They're waiting for someone else to wipe their bottom for them. Not only are they still sitting in the driveway screaming, "Are we there yet?" They're sitting in shit-filled diapers. They've got food all over their face. And they're waiting for someone to wipe all that off. Change their nappies for them. As far as I'm concerned, that's certainly not the way a God would act. Okay? You are the power, not the words in the documents. It's the concepts contained within these things that I've tried to share with everyone and others at this table that bring their concepts. And, of course, I get to be a co-creator and a co-experience in all of these things where I put things together. I just cherry-pick the things that resonate. So we've made it very clear that the legal name, as far as anything registered or whatever, remember this, the only piece of paper that is sent out, they actually want to ram it down your throats. They insist that you take it. The only one that is ever voluntarily given at gunpoint insistence is the birth certificate and the registration. You call it a record of life, birth, a birth certificate, it doesn't matter. That was a big red flag for me. Because any other form of identification you're going to get in your life if you're playing in this system, you have to be the one to go out and commit the fraud. You have to be the one to go to the bank. Oh, we need to see a birth certificate. Passport? Oh, we need to see a birth certificate. Government ID? Oh, we need to see a birth certificate. Because they want you committing fraud against yourself in ignorance. I had a good chat with Randy earlier today, and I think I'll probably get Randy to share the recording, and he can do the pausing of it for this meeting, and we'll pick it apart just to show you how ignorant or willfully deceiving this lawyer was. And just for the record, Randy owned him at every turn, to the point where this lawyer had a hissy fit. Couldn't handle the truth. You know, you can call it ego, you can call it whatever you want. I just simply call it emotions. And I hate putting labels and tags on things because they're always misinterpreted. It's very simple. If you're emotionally involved in something, you're not seeing it with a clear, pure heart and mind. You've got a reaction going on. So there we have it. We got, the legal name that was and is forcibly rammed down people's throats in order to get them to aid and abet their children into committing fraud. So look at it simply. Mom and Dad have an intellectual property called the name that they create. They agree to it. That's their creation. That's not yours. You didn't create it. You merely accepted it as yours because you were told to. The truth of the matter is you can call yourself anything you want. I don't know why people are so fixated on it. It's all part of the program, I guess. You can write your name out in any shape, symbol, or sigil you want that only you understand.